You are now tuned into Somewhere in the Middle with Soonie and Mo.
Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay.
Hey, Don on the beat.
Ay, I got so many ops.
Everywhere I go, I
got so many ops.
so many ops.
I know they plotting against me. I know it's hate, they wanna kill me, but please don't tempt me, cause I got so many glocks. Ay, ain't none of them empty. Jesus said they would hate me too. That's how I know it's envy. I got so many ops.
Hey!
You caught me in the middle of having technical difficulties as we were starting.
Oh no!
All my screens started flashing, but we're here. I'm
That's
here.
all right. We're here. Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the show. Tuesday night. I have Jaron here with me because if you were watching our show last week, you know that Soonie has now started her vacation. She's probably in the airport right now. She may be popping in here while she's at the airport waiting for her flight to take off just to say what's up. I have not replaced her. I know she started that rumor online. She was like, Monique's replaced me. Rose already replaced me. I'm like, yep, I replaced her. But no, I have not replaced her. She'll be back. We are both none of us are going to be here on Friday because I am going to Colorado, but we'll be returning next week. And Jaron will be joining us on Fridays.
Yes, doing some Friday shows.
He'll be
Or was
doing
it
Friday
Tuesday
shows.
It was Friday
Well,
shows.
Friday shows. Yeah, you're just filling
There
in
you go.
this Tuesday because Soonie's not here.
Perfect.
And yeah,
I'm excited. It's gonna be fun.
it's going to be fun. So we'll introduce you to Jaron. Jaron, you don't know the drill, but we have a viewer that watches us. Her name is Judy, and we have dubbed her Big Booty Judy, not because she has a big booty, but she is the only viewer of our show that has her own intro. So I saw her in the comments. Welcome, Judy. We haven't seen you in a while, so I'm going to roll the Big Booty Judy song, and then we'll get right back and we'll let Jaron introduce himself to all of you guys.
Big cutie, big booty Judy. What? Big cutie, big booty Judy. Big booty, big cutie, big booty Judy. Stop! I wanna see you move it. Yeah. Big booty Judy. Big booty Judy. Got big booty Judy. That's big booty Judy. Got big booty Judy. That's big booty Judy. Got big booty Judy. That's big booty Judy.
I like that intro. That's nice.
Yeah. She's the only one that has her own intro. How lucky is she?
I like Judy's intro. She's stylish.
Big Booty Judy. Yep, that's her. Judy in the comments. You're welcome, Judy. We missed you. Welcome back to the show. Welcome everybody else who is saying what's up in the comments. If you haven't already said what's up in the comments, please say what's up. Please hit the like button. Let us know where you're watching from. Jaron, why don't you tell everybody about yourself since not everybody may have met you last week?
Well, hi, I'm Jaron. My Instagram is right there at the bottom. I'm from California, and yes, I am a liberal, but I'm not I'm not one of those I'm not a progressive. I'll say it like that. I think I'm very sensible. I can see issues from both sides, and I really just think that more people should be able to have a conversation, right? And have differences, but no need to argue over every single thing, right?
Yep.
So. That's just me. And also I work in radio as well. I do a show on Sirius XM in music. So
yeah, you have a great radio voice.
Thank you. This is like my my post-work voice. So I think it's
maybe I should have let you do the intro because you have that radio voice.
No, I don't like doing voiceover. That's the weirdest thing. I don't like reading scripts. I just like talking. So I guess it works out, Yeah.
Nice. Well, you got somebody here, Tunes Chino. What up here for Jaron?
What up, Tunes Chino?
You know who that is?
I will now.
Awesome. If you guys are joining here for the first time, I don't know which platform you're watching on because we are streaming across a few platforms. Somewhere in the middle is where we would like you to subscribe to on YouTube. So if you're not subscribed to Somewhere in the Middle, please make sure you subscribe over there. If you want to super chat or do any type of donation, you have to do so from my YouTube channel, which is Let's Talk Darling. So not to make it complicated, but our Somewhere in the Middle page is not yet monetized, only the Let's Talk Darling pages. And yeah, we'll get there soon enough. But we ain't there yet. So, all right. We have a shorter show tonight because we're not going to do like the 2-3 hours that I normally do with Soonie. But Jaron and I were talking kind of in the background, and we were like, we got to talk about this. We have like a wide array of things that we're going to talk about tonight, because the great thing about having Jaron on the show is he doesn't just want to talk politics. He wants to talk all things, quite like Soonie and I like to talk about. But he also comes from a different perspective, which we love. We don't like echo chambers over here.
And that's what I like about you as well. Like, that's what I really appreciate. Like from the first time that we even have a conversation, like the fact that you like, I don't like echo chambers. You don't like echo chambers. So it's just refreshing, because I feel like that's, we said it last week, like you can create a reality based upon the news you watch, what you read, who you listen to.
Yep.
So it's just nice not just having people who seek opinions outside of their own, like the ones they already hold.
Yeah. It's funny because Jaron and I met over Instagram, and he reached out to me because I was like commenting underneath Travion Cootie's comments in regards to like the people that were getting sued over the election fraud stuff in
the one that was harassing Ruby Freeman after the indictments came down from Fonnie Willis, the Fulton County DA.
So Jaron reaches out to me. He's like, you want to come on here and talk about your girl Travion, since you know her? Like, and I was just like, it's not that I really know her, but like, she follows me.
You said it better than I did. I think I think I was a little more. I didn't say it as tactfully.
Oh no! He came through hot. He came through hot at first. Like he came through like a true liberal, and I was like, whoa. Like
I'm like, I think I asked, are you going to visit your girl in jail? I think that was our first interaction.
That is exactly what you said. And so far, she's not in jail. So far,
that whole thing is a mess as well. Like, why are you going to hire the dude you're sleeping with, who has no experience whatsoever in trying cases like this? That is the ultimate fuck up.
Yeah.
It's like, how stupid can you be? Like, they're going to dig into every single thing, trying to attack you, and try and get this case dismissed. So that's a self-inflicted, like what are you thinking?
It's working. I mean, nothing's happening.
No, it is working. But I mean, like, why did Fonnie even do that? Like, decide that was a good idea?
So can you, maybe so I was looking last week, or Soonie and I were talking about it last week, about some like credit card stuff that they were posting about her. Like, what is that about?
So I forgot his name, but like I don't want to say the lead prosecutor, the guy with the bald head suit. He's not a DA.
Oh, okay.
So what she did, she hired she hired him. He practices something else. That's not, he's not DA, right? But she hired him and paid him, the same rate that she's paying the other two. But she's also sleeping with him. So he's going through divorce proceedings, and these credit card transactions have come up during the divorce proceedings, and it was brought forth by one of the co-defendants as a way to get the case dismissed, saying that it's a prejudicial prosecution because of the conflict of interest. It's not really a conflict of interest because they're both on the same side. However, it's something that she exposed herself to unnecessarily. Hiring the person that she is, even if they're not, currently sleeping together, there's transactions of like him buying tickets for them to go to San Francisco together, right?
Oh, so that's what you're talking about. Okay.
Right. So all that stuff is coming out now, and it's muddying the waters. It's not going to affect the case, but also it's flip side of that is that what they're doing in Georgia is they want the legislature have the ability to remove any local DA. So the state might enact that law or bring it back up again to remove her from the case. That's also like one route that might happen. The judge might, assign other DAs to the case, but it's just an unforced error, and it's stupid. And it's like you came out hot. You spent all this time, and you wanted to be the one. You had these profiles written about you, right? And you were going to be the one to do what people couldn't do because you get you get the conviction in Georgia, that cannot be pardoned, right? On the presidential level. And the way it's done in Georgia as well, it's not a typical pardon either. So you were going to be that person to do the impossible, right? And you have this fucking you hire the guy you're sleeping with and paying him all this money. Who cares if it's the same rate that you're paying everybody else? You're still benefiting from this because you're going on trips with the guy.
Dang. Come on, Fanny. Do better.
It's stupid. It's really, I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
Well, I'm glad you explained that because me and Soonie were completely lost. Like people were sending it to us and we're like, I don't understand what we're supposed to be looking at here. I didn't get it.
I think with me too, I think I judge, like, since I am more liberal, I think I judge liberals a lot harder than
you have to, like, because you're like you have to feel like you have to defend their.
No, I'm just like, I get, like, if my house, like, you got to keep your house in order. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if I see somebody like that, I, politically aligned with fucking up, I'm going to call it out. Right.
That's awesome. We're the same way.
Yeah. And like, it was the stupidest thing. And like, and she tried to go like to a black church of all places, right? To plead her case, saying that I might have made some mistakes. I've done this. I'm like that. I'm paying. I'm just confused. It's like, no, you're not confused. like you knew what you did, and like you because I'm gonna see what this guy specializes in, because he's not a DA. I know that much for sure. He is not, and he's not qualified technically to try the case. Let me see. Fair.
What's his name?
Nathan Wade.
Okay.
He reached a divorce settlement with his wife, so that's good.
I bet he did. This probably expedited things for him, I'm sure.
He's a special prosecutor. Nathan Wade, though. Nathan Wade, area of law. I'm going to
While you look that up, I'm going to go over the topics that we're going to discuss today so people know. So because Jaron wasn't on with us last week when we kind of touched on this because it was a hot topic going around, we're going to circle on back to the Charlie Kirk statement about black pilots and how Charlie gets on a plane now and he is much more aware of who is flying the plane and becomes a little bit more nervous if he sees that the pilot is black. We're gonna have a clip about that. Jaron wanted to talk about it, so we're gonna bring that back up so we can have discussion. We're also obviously going to touch on the American soldiers that were killed in Jordan as a result of the Iran-backed drone attack. And Jaron wanted to talk about murder documentaries.
Oh yeah, I do.
And how they exploit people's pain. I completely disagree. Actually, I'm here for the exploitation. I am a murder No, I love murder documentaries. We won't get into it yet because you really just like triggered me when you said you wanted to talk about this.
Look at you using big words. Look at you.
Triggered?
Using words like triggered. Yeah,
triggered. Well, liberals respond to that. Liberals respond to the word triggered. So yeah, I'm gonna speak your language. And then we're also going to talk about racism and whether it is acceptable in Hollywood. Both Jaron and I work in the entertainment industry and we have been around it. So we thought it would be a cool topic for us to discuss because it's something that we can kind of both speak on. I wanted to talk about the Trump and the E. Jean Carroll defamation suit.
Oh, that's
and
a lot of stuff to talk about.
Ridiculous amount of money that he has to pay her. But I have this clip.
She is rolling it in. She's gonna have a money pool like Scrooge McDuck.
She's gonna have a money piece.
A money pool like Scrooge McDuck. Money pit.
Flavor Flav.
she's gonna be diving into like her pit full of money in her house that she's building with all of it. I love it.
Well, and I have a clip from an interview that she did, and I was just like, this woman is a dumbass. And I hope that Trump is able to like overturn this in some way or another after she said what she said, because it's ridiculous that she said what she said. Sorry, go ahead.
Just so you know, I was gonna continue about this Nathan Wade thing real quick.
Okay, one more thing. The last thing we're going to talk about, if we can get to it, is, and we kind of went into this last time Jaron was on, but we were chit-chatting about the crazy shit we see on the Ring app and Nextdoor. The people that post on there, like, I'm so glad somebody wants to talk about this because
It could be a whole show, honestly.
I get upset. If you guys have experiences with your Rig app and the Nextdoor app and the things that people post on there, please chime in on this when we get to this topic because it's one for the books. All right. What you got on this guy?
So he is he is a former prosecutor, but he's a
He is.
natural born trial attorney, and
Okay.
he's a seasoned attorney licensed to practice in all of Georgia's courts. But currently, if you need representation after a major car accident or going through a change in personal life that requires representation with a family law issue, whether you have a contract dispute or whether you are involved in any type of civil litigation, Nathan J. Wade will be a zealous advocate for you.
He's an ambulance chaser.
So, right. So he's a former prosecutor,
Okay.
but he's in private practice and he's more in, I guess, like civil litigation and family law.
Okay.
Which again, people were at the beginning wondering why this guy was put on the case, such a high profile case, right?
Right.
Why pick this guy? Now it makes sense.
Because Fanny is
She liked to go poo poo where she can go buffet at.
yeah, exactly. Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh, Fanny.
Yeah.
Fanny. All right. Well, what do we start talking about first? What do you want to talk about?
You
first?
just lead it because I honestly forgot the rundown.
Well, let's start out light and let's
Okay.
talk about the murder documentary
Oh,
thing.
okay.
Because
All right.
you really got to explain this to me because
I just hate murder documentaries because it's entertainment for us, right?
Mhm.
Like to consume. Whether it means also like you have it on Netflix, a ton of murder docs up there, right? You have shows like Snapped, then you have your podcasts. You know what I mean? So like
yeah.
we become so affixed to the sensationalism of murder. Like I hated Dahmer when it came out as well. Because we're exploiting people's pain, right? Like this really like people went through this in real life, right? Families
Yeah.
had the most tragic thing possibly that could ever happen to a family happen to them, right? Losing a loved one in such a violent way.
Mm-hmm.
But we're consuming it as entertainment and binge watching these shows and listening to these podcasts, right?
Mm-hmm.
And to me that just doesn't sit right because again, like people are profiting, right? People are profiting off of murder. People are profiting, off of putting out these shows, and getting paid for doing them. So some people argue it's storytelling. The way it's done, I don't think so because you also have that like narrator's voice, like the really creepy drone, and like
Yeah.
you have the cliffhangers to make you like, suspenseful, wanting more.
Yeah.
So it's there's such an entertainment value to the way they present these murders that to me it just feels like exploiting people's pain.
Well, what brought this up for you? Something triggered this. Trigger.
Well, I was a snowflake because no, I listened to them like it didn't like I think Dahmer was the one that really set it off for me because I never liked them, but when I started watching Dahmer and just listening because I remember growing up in that whole story, right? Because we were kids
Yeah.
still, like when that whole case was going on. And it just like the way that the actor was celebrated, who played Jeffrey Dahmer, how he was celebrated, how like people were like, oh, it's such great performances. I'm like, but this happened to people in real life,
Mm-hmm.
and they went in like a lot of people, a lot of kids, right? Like people lost kids in their families,
Mm-hmm.
And it just feels like a lot of times we celebrate murderers, with these profiles on them.
Mm-hmm.
So I just started clicking with me. I'm like, I don't like it. Like it doesn't sit right with me.
God, it sits so right with me. Let me tell you an interesting
Really?
fact.
Okay. All right. You're just
So
evil, that's all.
so when I was in college,
Yeah.
I was doing like a course on serial killers and
Mhm.
like what makes a serial killer. So like what's the common denominator between a lot of serial killers? Interestingly enough, Soonie and I always talk about repeal the 19th. The mother has always been a key factor in a lot of serial killers profiles, right?
Mhm.
And I did a paper on Jeffrey Dahmer. And at the time, his father had written a book, and the book was taken out of print. And I wanted to get a hold of the book. So I wrote his father, like, I wrote him a letter. This is like back in the day when you actually had to like write a letter and put a stamp in the mail, right? So I sent a letter and I said, hi, I'm doing this paper on Jeffrey Dahmer, and I would love to get a copy of this book, but I can't get it because it's no longer in print. And he sent it to me, signed it. So I have a copy of this book that's no longer in print, signed by Jeffrey Dahmer's father, who's no longer even alive anymore. But it was a book where he talked about Jeffrey growing up and the relationship that he had with him. And, now everybody can kind of see how that played out in the movie, although the movie wasn't very, as much, obviously wasn't as descriptive as it was in the book. But Jeffrey had a really a tumultuous relationship with his mother, which almost all serial killers do. There's like this weird dynamic with the mother. The mother is what makes a serial killer, people. So
women are ruining America.
Yeah, pretty much.
No, you're not supposed to agree with me.
Pretty much. No, I
don't really mean that.
I'm just saying women have a lot of power in how their kids grow up. And I'm not saying you're going to turn your kid into a serial killer. But going back to your point, I think what people are fascinated about when they watch these different murder documentaries, and obviously like serial killers are a more extreme case.
Right.
But like when you take like, what was that guy's name?
Chris, the staircase?
No, okay. Who's the guy that like he killed his wife and his kids and he stuffed them like in a water tank? And he was like,
yeah, him.
Chris something in Colorado. It was something in Colorado.
Yeah, him. Yeah.
I think people are like fascinated with that, like family next door, where something like Chris Watts, where something crazy happens. Nobody would have ever suspected it, right? Like they're the picturesque family, like, live in a nice neighborhood, the kids, the happy marriage, the seemingly happy marriage. And then you find out all the background, kind of like when you watch Snapped. I love Snapped. Okay.
Oh, God.
Yeah. I love Snapped.
Snapped scares me. As a man, Snap frightens the hell out of me.
Most men are like just one bad decision away from being an episode of Snapped.
I'll never forget, like my dad did something piss my mom off, and then like he's like in a different room, whatever, and then like he tells me, he comes back, and I guess she had been watching like a Snapped marathon.
Yeah,
not and just that's because she likes the show, right? But like she's watching a Snapped marathon. He's like, what the fuck? Like, what did I do? Was it that bad? Like, you getting ideas? But the thing is, the also like, the thing about Chris Watson, and even I'll go back to Scott Peterson, right? Just this two off the top of my head. When we do tell these stories, it becomes one of these things. Even with the one of the two brothers that did the Boston Marathon bombings, right? Like, they become sex symbols as well. Yeah. So that's also like one part I don't like. Is again, it's like you're putting these people on a pedestal, and you're by telling the story that you think that needs to get told. However, it's having just like the effect of like glorifying them as a person.
But we do that with everything. We do that with politicians, right? Think about it. It doesn't just end at like murder documentaries. We're doing it politicians. We do it with influencers. I mean, Soonie and I were talking, and I'm not going to talk about names here, but Soonie and I were talking about somebody today, an influencer. Yeah. And I was just like, explain to me what the fascination is with this person, because I don't get it. Okay.
Oh, I don't get influencers at all. Like, I don't understand the point of influencers.
Yeah, but like women are like falling over themselves, like over their personal drama, and this, that, and the other. And I'm just like, I don't understand. But like, again, these people have this fascination with other people's drama and other people's lives, right? So we can kind of escape. It's like why I watch The Housewives. It's why I watch Basketball Wives, because I just want to like escape from my reality and just look at something that's completely crazy. And I like murder. I mean, I'm just interested at murder documentaries.
I think what I do is I also put myself in. I think since I am such an empathetic person,
I
put myself like in their shoes, right? Like the family shoes, and like what I want people sitting on their couch with some popcorn, just like, you know what I mean? Like enjoying watching something tragic that has happened to my family.
Yeah.
That like to me, I just like, it just doesn't, like, thank God, like, we haven't had to, I don't know if I speak for myself, like I haven't had to experience that, right, in my life. And I'm just thinking, I'm like, if I'm that person's family, right? Or if
Mhm.
I'm in that family and this happened, like I wouldn't, I don't know, like,
Yeah.
all these podcasters are making a bunch of money off of selling ads for um their podcasts that deal with people's getting murdered.
Mhm.
Because it's sensationalism, and when we
Mhm.
enjoy that, and
Mhm.
it's tantalizing and titillating,
Yeah.
you know.
You know what it is though, is this is what I always tell Soonie, like, and it doesn't matter whether it's like a murderer, it doesn't matter if it's an influencer, somebody who's dead, somebody who's alive, somebody who's evil, somebody who's really super good. You and me, okay? I think everybody wants to know that they matter, that they've made
Mhm,
some type of a difference, right?
mhm,
Serial killers, they love this. They
mhm.
love being the center of attention of a documentary. Like I look at that Ruby Rose girl, right? That they're making, is it Ruby Rose? Ruby, the girl that like had that mother that like convinced her that she was being
Oh, Gypsy Rose.
Gypsy Rose.
Oh
I keep
yeah, I don't.
saying
Oh,
Ruby
don't get me
Rose.
started on her. Don't get me started on her. Don't
I
get me started
listen,
on her at all.
there's something about her I don't
I don't
trust.
like that. Right. I don't know. That's it right there. Like, I don't know why she's doing all these news programs and why
Yes.
everybody is celebrating the fact that she murdered her mother. Well, she had her mother murdered, right?
Yes.
It doesn't, no, like, stop. Like, no.
Yeah.
Like she's a celebrity
Yeah.
for what
No,
she
I know.
did.
I know. And there's something about her that I just do not trust. And I told like my daughter, she's been like obsessed with the story. And I'm just like, guarantee you this girl will commit another crime. Watch. She will commit another crime based on the fact that she's got all this like mental anguish from all the stuff that her mom did and will excuse her behavior because of
Mhm.
it. Like I said, I think people just want to matter.
I
People
don't
just want
trust
to matter and they do whatever they have to do to matter.
I don't trust anybody with more than 3 silver teeth. That's all I gotta say. If you got more than 3 silver teeth, I don't
Her
trust you.
mom had like all her teeth like taken out.
Okay, I'm so mean. But do you think, oh yeah, Ruby Rose. I like Ruby Rose, by the way.
Gypsy. Oh,
Yeah,
Ruby
but
Rose
Ruby
is
Rose is some completely different.
yeah,
Um
she's cute. I like
yeah, she
her.
is. Me too. Um so do you think that murder documentaries, the murder documentaries that Hollywood puts out, right? Do you
Uh-huh.
think those influence people to go and commit murder?
Not any more than like the news putting out sensationalizing people who commit crimes.
So do you think there's a such thing as do you think then, like, when Hollywood does put out like a trans story, or like, because I'm trying to like equate that like with this idea of like a gay agenda, right?
Mhm.
In which, like, with the movies that are coming out, we're talking about murder documentaries. Like, anytime you see a murder, like in a movie, like they try to, I personally don't think that influences somebody's actions no more than, hearing a story or watching a story about two men in a relationship, or two women in a relationship,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Like the whole idea of like Hollywood perpetuating a certain agenda, to me, I think is just like the most ludicrous thing.
You think you think Hollywood perpetuating an agenda is ludicrous?
The idea that, like, because you always
Oh,
hear this talk about like a gay agenda, I was like,
no, they for
just
sure do.
because the story is being told does not necessarily mean that it's going to make you act a certain way, let alone like, we can watch murder documentaries. We agree we can watch murder documentaries. That's not going to make me go out and commit a murder. You know what I mean?
No.
So then why all of a sudden when you see a love affair between two people of the same sex, then it becomes this issue like, well, this is, this agenda that's going to make this happen, make me do this. I'm like, no, it's not going to make you do anything that you already don't want to do.
Well, exactly, right? It's not gonna like if you're like a normal, rational thinking person, of course, a murder documentary is not gonna be like, geez, maybe I should go commit a murder. So they'll make a documentary about me. Or like if I see a show where there's like a gay couple or a lesbian couple that I'm going to be like, you know what, maybe I want to be a lesbian if it's not already like brewing in me, right?
Right.
But just like, I think, or another argument, right? Like people say, if you listen to rap music, you're going to be violent, right? I've been listening to rap music all my life,
I just want to get
like
ratchet.
uncensored, and I'm not violent, right? Because I'm a sensible person. But I think what comes into play is that social media and society are making people weaker and weaker and weaker minded, that these things are able to get in more than they were, because you and I are around the same age. So like we come from a little bit of a different time where we didn't have all this constantly bombarding us.
We know life before and after social media.
That's right.
Do you think, sorry to cut you off, but back on the social media topic for a second, do you think that crime is at an all-time high as compared to a decade or 2 decades or 3 decades ago?
I'm not sure about that. I think we're just more hyper focused on it.
Right.
Because it's what we see. It's like, like when I say that about a lot of things, like the immigration thing,
right?
Not that it's not bad, but I think we're more hyper focused on it now because it's being pushed in front of us constantly. Like we weren't seeing people come across unless you lived close to San Diego. Like I used to always go to Mexico and TJ.
San Ysidro. That's right.
Right.
San Diego. Yeah.
We used to go to San Diego to get tortillas all the time, or go for like margaritas and breakfast.
Right.
And you would be like literally waiting in line, and you would see people like hopping out of trunks, right? Because like they were like
the border has been an issue. I mean, hell, the border has been an issue since Columbus, discovered. I don't almost say that, but since Columbus landed, in America, right?
Yeah.
Like, the border has been an issue since then.
Yeah.
And it's not going to get fixed. But
never 100%. No,
never. No. But I agree with you though. Like this stuff, we can see crime that's happening all over not even like in the US, all over the world, right? We see things, unrest everywhere through social media.
Yeah.
So we're hyper fixated, hyper aware of certain things that are happening. Like we can see images coming out of Texas, the Rio Grande River, right? At the border crossing right there, what's going on there. We can see these things. We can see migrants, at the border, right?
Yeah.
In tents. We can see this now through social media. So I necessarily don't prescribe to the idea that things are at an all-time high. Things are just terrible. I think it can get disseminated a lot quicker.
Yes.
Than what it has been in the past, but it's the same stuff that probably it might even be lower. We don't know. Like I don't have the stats in front of me, but what if it was crime is actually lower, but we feel it's higher because of the access we have to social media, and just like again, it's stuff that is in a way, I can't think of that word right now, but like like when it's what's that word I'm looking for? Not titillating, but you know what I mean, though, right? It's tantalizing. I'll say it's tantalizing, right? Like it in a way, it's stuff that will get a reaction out of the viewer,
course,
right? It will get the clicks, it will get the comments, right? It will get the conversation, right? So like, and that's what social media is. It's all about engagement.
Yeah.
And wedge issues will get a lot more engagement, I think. Like, things that you can be upset about will get a lot more engagement than somebody, saying, "Hey, here's a cute picture of my cat. Have a good day."
Right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
You'll scroll past that. You scroll past some
Exactly.
encouragement, but like, if it doesn't elicit like this visceral reaction out of you, that's what social media is. It's about the outrage. There we go. Outrage. That's what I'm looking for. Outrage.
It is about the outrage. Yeah.
I mean, I found it.
It'd be nice to go back to the time where you had to like open a newspaper. They could only fit so many stories on the page.
Oh yeah.
Somebody actually had to write an article, right?
And you didn't buy the newspaper because it was too expensive.
Right? Exactly. Okay. Exactly. But now everybody can just copy and paste a photo, put a snappy little caption there. Hey, I don't even have to do the work. I can just go to my favorite influencers page, take their stuff, put my own caption on it, and then rebrand it as my own. And it just all day long just keeps scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. It's like, my gosh.
And social media has become the 24-hour news.
24 hours. It's not good for us.
And everybody now, you have to have an opinion. You have to speak out on every issue on their social media feed. You
Yeah.
you have to weigh in on it, because if you don't weigh
Mhm.
in, then you're not paying attention,
Right.
So then all of a sudden it just becomes, I'm guilty of this as well, it just becomes like just an inundation of just like all this doom,
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I gotta like stay off of that now. Realize how much I
Yeah.
hate social media.
I know.
I still hate
I
murder documentaries more though.
I'll never stop with the murder documentaries. I find them fascinating. I love them. They're my guilty pleasure, you know? It's like the reality shows. Total crap TV.
Yeah,
Okay?
yeah,
And they're so far from reality. It's
yeah.
funny that they call them reality shows,
They're
but
all scripted. Yeah, you love people's
love
pain. That's all it is.
I love it.
You love people's pain.
I do. But I can disconnect quickly and then like snap myself back into reality.
No, because I think it was something. Oh, okay. This is why I started. So I was going down the rabbit hole yesterday
Mhm.
because the
Mhm.
beef that Megan Thee Stallion is having with Nicki Minaj. Um, and and in her latest whatever song she came out with, Megan was like, "You're not mad at Megan, you're mad at Megan's Law," whatever it was, right?
My daughter was telling me about this. Is this
Yeah.
really a thing?
It is a thing, and then so Megan's dad, not Megan Thee Stallion's dad, but, like, Megan I forgot the little girl's name who's Megan's Law's named after her. His dad said it was her dad said it was such an insult to have, Megan Thee Stallion say something to that
Yeah.
effect, right, in a song,
Yeah.
and then I was like, "Okay, she's not like she's not talking about the memory of your daughter, she's actually talking about Nicki Minaj's dude that she's with who I guess is uh, an offender of sorts.
Yeah.
So that fact, I don't know what kind, but like I think it has something to do with Megan's Law. That's why Megan said in her song. But that's what she's talking about. But then I started reading where Megan's Law came from, right? So it was part of some I forgot what bill it was, right? But it was named after another boy, a boy who got murdered in Minnesota, right?
Mhm.
And then I'm just like, dang man, and like then it was like all these news articles and it's like, what happened? How did this, like people are chiming in, having their 2 cents.
They're
It's
just
just like it was
chasing
all
clout.
right, but no, but I mean though, but when I was reading like these articles about it, I'm just like, dang, we become so we since it doesn't since it's disconnected from us, we can fixate on it and and like throw out conspiracies and have a comment and like just watch it like for entertainment value. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Whereas I'm like, this happened to somebody, and their life is no longer, and this family is grieving, like even the little boy, the boy I'm talking about in Minnesota, this happened like in the 80s, I would say, or maybe like late 80s, early 90s to that effect. It wasn't until like a couple of years back that they actually found his body, and it opened up a whole new world of hurt for his mother.
Uh-huh.
All these years later, and I think we forget about that. Like when it comes, because we love a good mystery. We love like, oh, what happened to the body? Did this person do it? Here's a person of interest right here. Did they do it? But we forget about the actual hurt that is caused to real life people.
But then I'm thinking of the fact that now there's this whole generation of
Mhm.
Megan Thee Stallion fans that have no idea what Megan's Law is, and now they're Googling Megan's Law,
Thank you,
and now
Jacob Wetterling.
and then now they're learning what Megan's Law is. So it's a win-win
Yeah,
situation,
yeah, yeah,
you know?
yeah. It's like, and then yeah, it's just to me, it's just I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
like murder documentaries. Yeah, I still don't like them.
Yeah. I'm gonna leave it alone
Yeah,
because yeah, I will be a murder documentary obsessed person till the day I die. All right. Let's
yeah.
talk about Charlie Kirk.
Oh God.
Let's talk about Charlie Kirk. I'm gonna play the video here so we can catch people up on what we're talking about. So before I play the video, Charlie Kirk is basically commenting here on the what is it? The diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Diversity, equity, and inclusion. That
And
it
inclusion.
yeah, it's their new rallying cry in a way. It's followed affirmative action, I think, was first, and then it was CRT. Now it's DEI.
Yeah. They're just changing the name. So I think a couple shows back, Soonie and I had actually looked up because we were looking up another change that's being made in the airline industry in relation to this, where they want to hire more people with mental and physical disabilities. Okay.
Not to be pilots.
I think just across the board, right? Across the board. They didn't say specifically in any like certain capacity, right?
Yeah.
But when we looked it up, apparently this has actually been a policy for a long time. They're just like highlighting it. It's kind of like when people were going nuts over Southwest Airlines talking about how they were going to give fat people like an extra seat on the plane for free. Turns out that's been in the policy for a long time. But again, thanks to social media, it just comes up like it's brand new news and people get outraged and they accomplish exactly what they want to accomplish.
Yeah.
Anyways, Charlie Kirk is
I'm gonna fight Charlie Kirk, by the way.
I know. I can't stand this guy.
I just want to punch him in the face.
I would actually watch somebody like beat him up because I really can't stand him.
Yeah.
He was on a pod. I don't know if this is his podcast. It's called Thought Crime. And he made this comment in regards to this new policy. So here you go.
That's why I think this United story and the DEI story hits so hard, because we've all been in the back of a plane when the turbulence hits or when you're flying through a storm and you're like, I'm so glad I saw the guy with the right stuff and the square jaw get into the cockpit before we took off. And I feel better now.
No, I mean, like, you want to go thought crime? Like, I'm sorry. If I see a black pilot, I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified.
Well, that's you wouldn't have done that. You wouldn't have done that before.
That's not an immediate.
No, you wouldn't have done that
before.
before.
That's not who I am. That's not what I believe.
It is the reality the left has created.
No, it's not. Shut the fuck up. Sorry. God, I'm so sick of these people who preach personal responsibility, who don't take account for their own actions. Nobody's telling you to think like that. I mean, first and foremost, damn, I'm so irritated right now. 3.4% of U.S. airline pilots are black, right? 3.4%. So the majority of the time that anything, tragic happens in the skies, it's not because of a black pilot. I can say that much for sure, right? Sure numbers will tell you that, right? But they pinpoint, like they go back to this whole, they accuse the left of playing the race card all the time, whereas race is their whole identity, right? Again, DEI follows CRT, right?
Yes.
Anything that has to do with anybody who is not white, and a white male at that, is deemed as being, an agenda that's being forced upon you. What happened with the Alaska Airlines flight when they put that that faulty plug in where the door was supposed to be at, that blew out.
Yes.
They said that was because of DEI hires. There's nothing out there to even say that was the case. Right. They want to scapegoat minorities over and over and over again. And, when a black person or when a minority fails, it's because they're an unqualified DEI person, right? If a white male fails, then it's him taking a risk. So it's so irritating to me. Like, and I'm not guilty. I'm not guilty of not having certain thoughts, because I shared with you, like, I went to a doctor's office and everything was in Spanish, and like it hit me. I was like, oh crap, I'm not going to get the level of care I think I need here. And I caught myself in that moment. I was like, that's fucked up to think like that. Right. So like, we have those thoughts. It's how you choose to react once you have those thoughts. If you double down on them, you're fucking racist. Right. Exactly. That's how I feel.
But I feel like, and I said this last week, I feel like the comment that he made was so ignorant, okay? In the sense that, and my friend brought this up and he made such a good point. He's like, number one, how many times do you actually see the pilot of the plane? Number one. Okay, like usually you get on the plane, the cockpit is closed, you're not seeing the pilot. But Soonie had said last week, she was like, and she went over these stats, but she was like, do you realize like how many hours and qualifications you have to meet to even become a pilot?
A lot of the pilots are former Air Force pilots.
Right.
Anyway.
And it's not like they're just like, oh, he's black, we'll just, let him fly a plane. Like, no, he's got to have the qualifications to do it. Right. So that's a bigger, sorry to cut you off, but that's a bigger
problem, bigger point right there, that whenever they see a black person in a position where a white person's at, they always question the black person's qualifications as to how you got there. Only reason you got here is because, you know, you checked a box. You can't be possibly qualified enough to have this position. The only reason you're here is because you look a certain way and you check that box for diversity.
Right. Yeah.
And it's fucking irritating. I was like, but also I noticed though in the clip that he was specifically talking about a white man flying the plane. He didn't mention anything about a woman.
Well, Candace then came in with her comments. Did you see her comments?
No, I haven't. No.
Okay, I have that also because I wanted to get your opinion on what she says, and then I want to read you a very interesting comment that was dropped below this video, which I found fascinating. So here's Candace's comment. Her face in this picture is hilarious.
But unfortunately, that is the reality of what happens when it comes to DEI, and what he is remarking on is true. I would be terrified if I got onto a plane and I saw a woman flying the plane. And I know that we have the United CEO saying that he just wants to fulfill a quota. He just wants there to be more women and wants there to be more Black people. And he's not concerned at first with qualifications. That is something that should alarm all of us, guys, honestly. But unfortunately, that is the reality.
So I thought it was interesting that she says what he's saying is true, but then she goes in on women. He didn't say anything about women. He talked about a Black pilot and she didn't even address that. She didn't address that comment. But here's what I found
because
interesting.
Candace will forever toe the line of putting down Black people forever.
Yeah. So here's what I find interesting. So I looked down in the comments and this woman named Nita_Lift says, she's capping, y'all. I was her captain, and she's a female, on one of her private jet flights. Clearly, I did a good job because she's still alive to tell the lies. So I reached out to this lady because I wanted to see if we could get her on the show to talk about it. But she hasn't reached back out to me. But
maybe next week then.
Did you watch the video I sent you on Brandon's comments about it?
No, I didn't see that video.
You didn't?
No.
I don't have a clip.
Okay.
Handy, but basically he also agreed with Charlie Kirk on his comments, saying that Charlie is, not crazy for feeling that way, that the left has created this narrative that now we have to be hyper focused on race and all this other stuff. And again, I go back to the fact where I want to say this, okay? We cannot blame the left for this when you, Charlie Kirk, are constantly painting a negative narrative around the Black community. You're only highlighting negativity around the Black community. Okay. I don't see how you can sit here and blame the left unless you are doing
show,
something to change the narrative. He's popping another one.
It's a 2-drink show.
He's popping another one. Yeah. I mean, Charlie's doing nothing to change the narrative. We talked about this last week. They are constantly highlighting degeneracy.
Right. It's like, okay, wouldn't you say that being a doctor, being a pilot is an esteemed job?
Yes.
Don't you? And you always talk about how the Black community, right, it has an issue with education, not enough fathers in the household, right? Wouldn't you want to give Black kids some type of hope, right?
Right.
I mean, for a profession who's 3.4% Black, for somebody to say, well, I want to, hire more Black people. Why is that a bad thing? Well, why to increase from 3.4%? They see it as being a bad thing because it's the erosion of whiteness, right? The erosion of the numbers of white pilots. So they think that it's coming as an expense. So they see diversity as coming at their expense rather than being something where people can grow. Does that make sense? So their whole frame of it is like diversity is a bad thing because white people won't have jobs if a Black person or minority gets hired.
I mean,
you know the number one benefactors though of affirmative action. Who benefits the most from affirmative action?
Well, you told me that it was white women.
White women are the greatest benefactors.
Women.
You look at corporate boards, specifically corporate boards, right? You'll see a lot of white women surrounded by a bunch of white men, but a white woman as a CEO.
Mm.
Because again, that power is still there, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So they can check the box of being diverse for having a female inside there.
Yeah.
But it's one that's still in that power structure.
Yeah. I mean, you haven't been part of the show long enough, but
No.
this race topic is one of my least favorite to talk about. For me to even comment on this Charlie Kirk thing, it's bad, okay?
Yeah.
Because I hate the race conversation. I hate the word diversity. I hate the word inclusion. I just feel like if you're qualified, you're qualified. I don't give a shit what you
Bingo.
look like.
Right.
I don't care. Even if you are handicapped, okay? If you can do the job, by all means, do the job, right? If you can't do the job, I'm firing you because you suck, not because you're black or handicapped or a woman or whatever.
Exactly.
You're just not qualified. So I hate the conversation on both sides. I hate when it's being used as an excuse and all this. I think we should do away with things like affirmative action because
I mean, you can't do it in schools anymore.
I know, but I mean, like, it shouldn't be needed. There are people that can qualify on their own merit, and they don't need to qualify based on their race. It's just
yes and no. I wish we did live in a world where there was people would, make a decision based upon somebody's merits. A lot of times that's not the case.
Yeah.
You'll have, you had a white C student become president of the United States in George W. Bush, and a black A student in Barack Obama, who still wasn't good enough. So, it's like the right always, not always, but a lot of times celebrates mediocrity. You see this pushback against, people going to universities, right? They're elitists, right? They're out of touch if you get an education. They always push back. They for some reason are championing mediocrity. Whereas if you're somebody who's exceptional and you're of a different race, then you're not good enough because the only reason you got there is because of the color of your skin. And it's, whereas, especially in the Asian community, right, there's a huge influence upon academics and stressing that over and over again, right, to really get ahead. But I see on the right is this constant striving towards mediocrity and the status quo, and that there's no need to do anything else because, if somebody, you deserve everything in the world, and if somebody beats you out, that's of a different race, is because they're getting a box checked.
That's what the sentiment is.
That's what I feel. That's what I feel the sentiment is. Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, it's hard for me to comment on this because I'm not one of these people that's like, I don't see color, because I for sure see color.
We all see color.
Doesn't see freaking color.
Everybody sees
I just
color.
give a shit. I just don't care.
Right.
Like, I don't care.
It's how you treat somebody based upon the color you see. Like,
yeah,
I've dealt with a lot of growing up in Orange County. The number one question because we were always the only black family in the neighborhood. The number one question I always got is, so what do your parents do for work? Oh, they must have really good jobs. You know what I mean? Like it was always that question. It was like, oh, so what do your parents do for work? Huh? Like, wow, this is a big house. Like it was, they couldn't understand, why and how
you got there.
We were there.
Yeah.
So I think I'm just very aware to like when I hear comments like what you just played from Charlie Kirk, it just strikes a nerve within me, because like that's something I've dealt with, constantly in life, right?
Yeah.
And it's like you try to, like, there's this thing that was always instilled in me, like, you got to do A+ work to be seen like as average. So like you have to always strive for more, because they're always going to see you as being underqualified.
Yeah. It sucks. I mean, it's funny. My dad is Puerto Rican, and he's kind of your skin tone. And one time, my parents live in a big house. Okay, they downsized since then, but they used to live like in an 8,000 square foot home.
Yeah.
And one time, my dad was out front doing gardening because he loves to garden, and these people like were driving around the neighborhood, and they live in a gated community. These people are driving around the neighborhood, and they're like, so they're like, do you garden for everybody in this neighborhood? My dad's like, I own this place.
What the fuck?
People are just so dumb. People are so yeah. But you know what? You know what my dad says? He's like, it makes me feel good that they drove by here and thought that I was the gardener, only to find out that I'm the owner. Okay.
Yeah.
And not only am I the owner, he told the guy, I don't have a mortgage on this place. I bought it cash.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like, you know, and I guess it's all in how you flip it in your
How you
mind.
flip it, right? But we shouldn't have to fucking flip it though, right? Like that's us flipping to justify, you know, to make it turn into a positive.
Yeah.
And whereas like comments like Charlie Kirk's they get mainstreamed, right? You get people trying to constantly justify it.
Yeah.
And it's you can say it's wrong to think like that. Like, no, like you're perpetuating racism and you're trying to find a justification for that racist thought that you have.
Yeah.
And there, to me, there isn't one.
I think it's more of an ignorant thought than it is a racist thought.
No, it's a racist thought. It's 100% racist thought because you specifically said that you're going to feel that your life, you know, first off, turbulence isn't really, sorry, I almost said ain't. It's not a big deal. And
Yeah.
I had because I have really bad anxiety, so I learned that it's not a big deal. Okay, cool. It's like speed bumps. All right, cool.
Yeah.
Like, but the plane's in autopilot, so it's going to adjust automatically. All right, cool. So half the time, the pilots don't even find the fucking plane anyway.
Yeah.
Right? Like they're taking off. It throws an autopilot as soon as you can, you know, get to 10,000 feet, something like that, and then they're landing the plane.
Right. Exactly.
That's really it. The computer's
Exactly.
flying it most of the time.
The computer is doing most of the work. Yep.
Right. So, you know, you won't say anything about, you know, the person who's designing that computer software, the autopilot, so the plane, so you can get there safely. You just focus specifically on the face that you can see, which is the pilot.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. That's crazy. Well, I was on a flight like maybe 2-3 flights ago. The whole flight crew was black. I was like,
Oh,
look
were
at
you
this.
in Atlanta on Delta?
No, where was I go? I think I was going to
I'm going to
I
hell
think
for that one. Sorry.
You know what? I was going to Oakland. I was going to Oakland.
Oakland on Spirit or Southwest?
It was Southwest.
Okay, yeah, there we go. So look,
I try not to fly Spirit.
Oh,
Because
no.
listen,
You'll
more
catch
than
it.
I don't trust a black pilot, I don't trust a yellow plane with Spirit written on the side of it. I don't give a damn who's flying that plane.
No, when you're on Spirit, you will catch the Spirit because you'll be praying for your life.
Hey,
at every turn.
you know when I do love a Spirit flight is to Vegas on a
Nope.
Friday. You want
Oh.
to know why?
Because you see all the porn stars going for the AVN conventions.
All the porn stars and all the
Yes.
strippers, like
Yep.
they come from Dallas to Vegas to work on the weekend.
Yep.
Man, it is like a party flight. Okay, going to
Very much
Vegas.
so. Yeah. The AVN convention was just this past weekend or a couple of weekends ago, and I know that Spirit and Southwest, especially the Spirit flight, but the Southwest flight from Burbank Airport was full of porn
Yeah.
stars. But yeah, now that you're right. That is the best flight to catch. Is that that flight into Vegas on Spirit, going on a Friday and coming back on a Sunday or a Monday.
Yeah, I'm gonna come back to Kevin's comment, but shout out to Sharnita, who is watching while she's in the Popeyes drive-through, waiting for her
Ooh.
chicken. I love Popeyes.
Give me a
Listen,
spicy 2-piece with
what are you
red
ordering?
beans and just a spicy 2-piece with 2 sides of red beans and rice.
Yeah, the red beans and rice for sure. I like
Okay.
their wings, the wings that they got
I've never
now.
had those before. No.
Those are my favorite with some hot sauce and some honey on top of those.
Yeah.
Yummy.
You give me a
Tuesday, she's
blueberry
gonna-
biscuit. Come to think about it now.
Oh, dude, those strawberry biscuits they got. Have you
For
had
sure.
those?
From Popeyes? No, I haven't had those. No, I haven't had those.
Good.
I do the Bowberry from Bojangles, but here's what I want to grab. Side note, since we're talking about food, you know Church's Chicken, right?
Yep.
Why the hell did they turn to Church's Texas Chicken? Because I thought that was something completely new. So everything says Church's Texas Chicken out here. I had no idea what that was at all.
Not here. It still just says churches.
It's out here. It's Church's Texas. They're rebranding. If you look at their website, they're putting Texas back in their name. So now they're Church's Texas Chicken. Which first I didn't know Texas was known for chicken, fried chicken at that.
Yeah. I thought it was Louisiana.
But why? Well, yeah, but no. Like I don't like no. Like no. Like because I'm confused. Like that's not the same. Like
Texas is taking over.
Right. You're spreading this Texan agenda everywhere.
Dang. See, now I want some chicken.
Yeah, me too.
That sounds so good.
Yeah.
Okay, so Kevin's comment said, "Why is it only Hispanic and Latinos that we see doing landscaping, roofing, field work? Why we don't see blacks, whites, Muslims, and Jews?" I mean, in Texas, I have some of the gardeners in our neighborhood. They're black. There's a mixture. I get black,
Really?
white, Hispanic. Yeah.
Out here, it's
Actually, the
especially-
guy that owns the landscaping is a black dude. The guy that owns
Really?
he owns it, and he's like the owner, but like he has a bunch of Mexicans working for him, but he's black.
See, out here, it's different because I see, like in the because we have the farmlands out here as well, right? Like
Yeah.
in certain parts of California, you see Hispanics, in the fields, right, doing those jobs that a lot of us don't want to do,
Yeah.
cleaning the hotel rooms, right, like working on top of roofs and laying the tile. So the reason perhaps is because people like cheap labor,
Mhm.
and for as much. That's why this border will never get fixed, because people that hire manual labor would prefer to have somebody who will not, they don't have to pay a livable wage too,
Yeah.
because a lot of times they're working to send money back to their families, and the American dollar will go a lot further there, so you can pay somebody, very little to
Yeah.
do that work, and you can maximize your profits. Meanwhile, they're benefiting as well because they're able to send money back to family
Yeah.
members who really need it.
Yeah. And I'll be honest with you, they just do good jobs at certain things. Like in California, like the homes that get built by, a lot of
That's
the
that's all who builds them out here.
they're amazing. They do an amazing job.
And it's also, I mean, like, perhaps they do an amazing job because they're trying to get ahead for the next generation. It's like they're working for something greater than that job that's in front of
Mhm.
them,
Mhm.
right? That's perhaps the reason why an amazing job is done.
Right. Yeah. Hey, I don't care. I don't care who you are, what you look like. If you do it well, I'm good. I don't care
Yeah.
if I'm at a French restaurant. I mean, most of the restaurants you go in, there's Mexicans cooking in the kitchen.
Except for the time I went to Supercuts and asked for a fade, and they didn't know what to do.
First of all, your mistake was going to Supercuts.
It was
What
on
are
the
you
back.
doing?
It was the coupon on the back of the receipt. And
Supercuts doesn't know how to do no fade.
I walked in asking for a fade, and they just gave me whoever had the darkest complexion inside there,
Oh
asking
man.
if she could do a fade. She said yes, and it was just, how like when you're cutting like around the sides and you're just like shaving like bald, like you cut a line like around the head, right, and like you shave everything under the line bald, and you leave everything
Yeah.
at the top. That's how my hair was.
Oh my gosh.
It was a coupon, Sharnita. I had a coupon for 20% off of Supercuts. It was on the
You
back
know
of
who-
my receipt from my grocery store.
You know who does really good fades? And because my son, he gets like a fade on his hair, and he's got long hair, but he does like a fade on the side. He goes to this he went to this guy, he was Middle Eastern. Okay, Middle Eastern dudes, they do a good fade. They know hair. They do know hair. Bowl cut. Sure need to say bowl cut.
That's what it was. That's what it was. That's what it was. So I say that to say that certain times, like flying a plane. I'm kidding.
Here we go. Well, let's keep on the race topic because you wanted to talk about Hollywood and racism.
Yeah.
And you and I are in the profession of
Yeah.
castings and going to auditions, and we see all the time the casting notices that will come out and how they're very descriptive on what they want you to look like. And
Mhm.
there's a certain time, where being ethnically ambiguous is the new hot thing to be. I guess we would be considered ethnically ambiguous.
Oh no, I'm just black.
Really? Because
Yeah.
I mean,
My
see,
friends are
to me,
black.
that's just ignorant because I feel like you could play Hispanic roles too because there's so much diversity in
Yeah.
Latinos,
I got sent out for one of those. However, it was in Spanish, so I didn't take it. But I got sent out. I was like, okay, you're asking me to speak Spanish. I can't do that.
Oh, okay.
Besides, hola,
Hola.
¿cómo estás? Me llamo Jaron.
See, they could totally put you in a Spanish novela.
I speak Spanish like how the recordings taught me to.
Which is what?
Hola, ¿cómo estás? Me
Oh,
llamo Jaron. ¿Y tú?
That's so funny. Very, very generic, very robotic.
That's how I speak about Spanish.
That is so funny.
But yeah, no, but like how like castings is like there are. That's one time where like it's acceptable, right? Like it's just the norm.
Oh, right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
To base your decision upon race.
Yeah.
That so like we and I say that because of how progressive Hollywood thinks it is and how progressive the actors think they are, and they want to champion every single cause.
Mm-hmm.
But meanwhile, right in their own backyard, this is a giant issue.
Yeah.
Which like I was watching and I think being inside of it now, like I watch it even more.
Mm-hmm.
And I was watching like a behind the scenes something of like one of these shows I saw, and like they showed the production crew, like the is like / reality. I forgot. I think it was Impractical Joke or someone to say, yeah, that's what it was on the show. But the four guys, white, right? But their whole production crew, their entire production crew
was white.
Yeah, and
really,
they showed behind the scenes. I was like, but people don't think about it, right? And I'm not saying that was a conscious decision, but like in front of the camera, especially, it's really okay for people to base their decision upon race. And even if they think they'll oftentimes try out a bunch of different races to give an array of options to the client, right, who makes the final decision. A lot of times they're going to land on somebody who is more marketable towards middle America. Right.
What is the worst thing okay, so how like when you go to auditions, I think people would be really surprised. I always tell people, like, if you're gonna get your kids into this industry, like, make sure that they are mentally able to handle just like outright criticism to their face.
Wait. Yeah, you gotta wait. Like, I hate the idea of like people trying to put their kids into like 2, 3, like this, like no, like you need to wait.
Yeah,
because also like let the kid feel normal, have a life, because everything else, people are gonna be criticizing them left and right, up and down.
Yeah,
picking them apart. They're not gonna ever be good enough.
I don't think people realize. And well, what's crazy is like first of all, when you go to auditions, people, if you don't know how this is, like nowadays, like you can do a lot of like video submissions because of COVID. A lot of things are now video submissions. Like they don't even have you come in until you make it like a little bit further. But back in the day, like when you had to go into audition, so they kind of like line you up cattle call style, and like everybody kind of does the same thing depending on what the audition is. And then they might individually have you, audition, based on whatever it is you're going for. But I have had like in the audition, whether it's in front of a room full of people, the other people I'm auditioning against, they're like, "Oh, you're a lot more bigger." They no, they don't even say curve. They're like, "Oh, you're bigger than we thought." Or whatever, but which I'm like, I'm not a big person at all, but obviously compared to a lot of these other girls, and now it's nice because now they want curvier. Okay, but back in the day, like if you weren't like thick, thin, and then you'd go into these auditions and stand next to these girls that were just like little tiny skinny skeletons, and then I'm like standing there like Latina curve body. They were like, "Oh, you're a little bigger than we really wanted," or, "Can we do something different with your hair?" Or, "We thought maybe you would look a little bit more whatever." Like they just say it right to your face.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh my gosh, I don't think people realize like how traumatizing it can be sometimes, because you literally go there and you get picked apart. I don't know if that's happened to you.
Not as much. I kind of know when I'm not going to get something when I go in for an audition. I was like, I know when I'm not going to get it. Like I went in for, I had to sign an NDA, so let me word this carefully. I went in for a tech product that is new to market. It's something that you put over your eyes and you see things in front of you, and it's after a fruit,
like a VR.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. And it was very so much like a fruit. But I had to put on put on something similar over my face, right? To kind of mimic wearing that product. And I knew I wasn't going to get it because of simply the fact that I know how something as simple as my nose looks with wearing certain things over my face, like sunglasses, that I knew for sure I was not going to get. And I knew, and I was like, I know who they're going to pick and how, it's going to look on them. And sure enough, I was right. Like, I know I'm not meant for this commercial. Kind of similar, like to like the features that are unique to your heritage, your race, right? Like how you're more curvy, right? My nose, I have bigger features, right? Like they'll pick those apart, and they're not very accepting of it because you're supposed to look a certain way, which they don't understand because people that are typically making the decisions have only experienced a specific type of person, right? So yeah, and they think that everybody's supposed to have those same features, no matter what race you are.
And what kills me is like, especially like with print ads and stuff like that, because I was doing like commercial work as well, like commercial modeling and things like that. Is like to hear like girls pick themselves apart, comparing themselves to these, people on TV or people in magazines.
Yeah.
And you guys have no idea like how specific, like you said, a nose, an eye shape, lips, body, they are literally like tailor fitting to the image they want to sell to you that very few people look like. And then young girls all over the world are like comparing themselves to that.
And also what I love is that when they try to be way too progressive, and they'll sell you a supermodel, quote unquote supermodel, they get like, the hell? Like, so beautiful. It's just like, you're just trying to be different at this point now.
I know.
I know. Like, I'm not trying to be mean, but I'm like, come on now. Like, we're like, what? No.
I know. It's terrible.
It's just that, but I just don't. I just have I have a more hate than love relationship with this industry, but I still do it.
I know, because you love the art of it. That's what I
Very
love.
much
Like,
so. Right.
like when you can do a really cool project, and the other thing is like once you do get on set, it is like the funnest time. Like I love being on set with other, actors and, other artists and things like that, because you're like around this creative energy, and that's the fun part.
Right.
It's getting there that is like torture session.
Right. I love creating art, and that you said it beautifully. Like that's what it is. Like I don't like anything else that comes with it.
Yeah.
Like I just love, if I can just forever just like get to that position where like people are like, oh, just come make some art. I'm like, bet I'm there. You know what I mean? Like I love, like you asked me how, like I love doing this, but when it comes to all the extra stuff, right, that they want to put you through.
Yeah.
Right. And people have their certain dispositions because they think they have to wield this power over you. Right. Like, I mean, you saw that with Weinstein, right?
Yeah.
Like people want to exert the power over you. Because they feel like they are in the position to make it happen for you. So what can you do for them?
Yeah. It's a nasty industry. It can be nasty
for
sure.
But back to it's very much acceptable to make decisions based upon somebody's race, and they will rewrite stories to have somebody of a certain race inside of it. I'm just waiting for like, I really did you ever see that version of I don't know what it was, but it was something to the effect, and Michael Jackson was played by either Rafe or Joseph Fiennes.
It was Ray Fiennes. I think it was Ray Fiennes.
That was like what why that's the prime example. Like, right really, like, so now we got to get I don't think MLK played by Daniel Day-Lewis. He can be anybody. He was a great actor. So,
but then people were tripping over what was it? The Little Mermaid being played by a black girl, and it was like a cartoon. Okay, and like
Oh, but they also nobody tripped over, like I said, Jennifer Lawrence playing Katniss from Hunger Games, because in the book she's written as somebody who's brown complected, right? Nobody tripped over Emma Stone, or one of the Emmas, playing an Asian character in one of the movies, right? Nobody trips over that,
right?
But again, it becomes a DEI thing when it's somebody of a because again, they see any advancement by a minority as being at the expense of and detriment to a white person who's out of a job.
Yeah. You know what? I don't give a shit what the industry says. I'm sorry, and no offense to white people. If you were born white, you can't. I mean, we can't help what we were born as. But I love who I was born and how I look, and I could care, like, flaws and all. Like, you know what I mean? Like my big thighs, my big booty, my imperfect nostrils, whatever it is. I love it. Who cares? Kevin always likes to comment on my forehead. Yes, Kevin, I have like a 4 or 5 head, something like that. I love it. So does Jaron.
Yeah. My hairline's receding. No, but yeah, no, just like, just if people complain so much about the race card being played, stop playing it and stop saying the left is making you do it, because they're not. You're choosing to do it.
You're choosing to be ugly, and talk about race. Who cares?
Right.
Unfortunately, the day will never come where race won't be a factor. It will always be a factor, whether it's like a good thing or a bad thing, right?
Right.
But it is what it is. It is what it is.
Tis what tis.
It is what it is. All right, let me talk about this E. Jean Carroll lady. Okay,
I like her a lot. She's my new favorite person in the world. I love her.
You like her more than what's her name? Sexy Red.
Oh no, Sexy Red's still number one.
Gosh.
Over. Man, I can breathe. Hands over.
Dude, okay, I didn't even know that was a song.
Hands on your knees. Hands on your knees.
My daughter played that song for me the other day, and I was like, "Is this for real?"
Yes, it's instructional, motivational, inspirational, and aspirational.
Aspirational, like as an AS aspirational.
That too. But makes you want to strive for, get that money tossed at you as you're dancing. As you're shaking it.
Lord have mercy. All right, let me just read this article real quick for those of you guys that don't know about this story. So E. Jean Carroll was in a defamation case with President Trump, and he was ordered to pay her $83 million. Okay. $83 million. Of course, he is vowing to appeal. Okay. So former President Donald Trump, at the end of a 5-day trial, has been ordered to pay her $83 million in damages to the former Elle magazine columnist E. Jean Carroll. Yes, for those of you guys who had no idea who this lady was, we're about to show you who she is in a second.
She had shown MSNBC or whatever network was before MSNBC. She had a show on that as well.
Oh, okay.
Before, yeah.
We still don't even know who she is. But anyways, apparently he defamed her in 2019 when he denied her allegations of sexual abuse. Basically, he was like, why would I even make a move towards this lady? And when you see her, you're going to understand why. Last year, in a separate trial, a jury determined that Trump was liable for sexually abusing Carroll in the dressing room of a Manhattan department store in the 90s, and that he defamed her in a 2022 social media post by calling her allegations a hoax and a lie, saying, "This woman is not my type." Trump has denied all wrongdoings and has said he doesn't know who she even is. Okay. So there was a breakdown. I don't know if I still have it, but there was a breakdown of what the money is going towards. This is her right here.
Yeah, look at her.
Look at that.
She looking like $83 million. Look at her.
She don't even look like his type.
Looking like $83 million. Oh, actually, she is his type, because you forgot during the you honestly forgot during the first trial. Not the defamation, but like the first trial though. He had to point out a woman in a picture and pointed to E. Jean as being Ivana. Whatever. 100%.
Oh, his wife, his ex-wife.
He misidentified E. Jean you know, as being his wife. So
I don't believe that.
Oh, no, I swear to you, he did.
You got to find that for me. You got to find it.
I'll send it to you.
Okay. Here's Kevin. He's always coming with the hot takes. Breaking news: Trump indicted for spending $83 million on new Stanley Cups, filed for bankruptcy after all. Yeah, those Stanley Cups is a whole nother story. Those things are ridiculous. Anyways, so Trump says he's going to appeal this. He said on his social media platform, this is absolutely ridiculous. He will be appealing. The former president was not in the courtroom when the decision was announced. He walked out.
How do I send this to you?
You can send it to me on Instagram.
Okay, cool. My phone died.
Oh, okay. Okay. So the jury determined that Trump must pay $18.3 million in compensatory damages and $65 million in punitive damages. Carol has sought at least $12 million for reputation repair. Okay. I just want to know, what the hell is reputation repair and why does it cost $12 million?
Because he drug her name through the mud. He continued after he was found liable for those charges that were presented in the first case. He continued to talk and continued to run his mouth. No, 100%. He brought it upon himself. He brought it upon himself. This is separate. This defamation case is separate from what happened in the first case with that judgment right there. He continued to run his mouth and talk. He brought it upon himself. He could have appealed that first case and shut his mouth, but he never does. So he brought it upon himself. Had he shut the fuck up, but he can never do that. He wouldn't be in this situation.
But you still haven't told me, what the hell is reputation repair and why does it cost $12 million?
Because
what reputation?
Because defamation.
Oh,
right?
Lord.
No, sir, that's slander. No, because she makes money based upon her name, right? By her being a columnist and an author, she makes money based upon her name. So a lot of people, there's a claim to it to say that what he was saying about her reflects upon her name, which in turn can impact the money that she makes based upon what she puts out, because her name is her money.
Nobody knows who this woman is. I'm sorry, but it don't cost them $12 million to repair her reputation, whatever it was. Because if it wasn't for Trump, nobody would even know who she is.
I know E.G. Carroll before that. She
yeah, but you're a liberal, so you.
I think I heard the name like in passing like years ago. I think she had like a column. She was a columnist or something like that. But no, had he shut up and not said anything, he wouldn't have to have paid $83 million. But I sent you via text. I don't know if you can pull the text. That clip I was talking about how he misidentified E. Jean for his wife. So he's saying that she's not his type. Obviously, girl is his type because he again screwed up and couldn't keep his mouth shut and thought he was, you know, smarter than everybody else, and was sure that he picked out his sexy wife in a photo, which turned out to be Eugene Carroll. I love that.
Okay.
Moment.
Let me see if I can send it to myself in WhatsApp here.
Yeah. And also he tried to make this, again, it's all show for him. It's this, he goes into court trying to create a mockery out of things. Okay, there you go.
Exhibit 20.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. It started playing.
No. I was just filling time, honestly.
Okay, so this is when he was giving his statements pre-trial, right? Is that what this is? Deposition. Yeah. Okay, so let's take a listen here and see what he says.
In your June 21 statement that's marked as Exhibit 20, you say, and this is the Litvin tweet, I never met this person in my life.
Yes.
Sir, you're saying that at the time you made the statement that's in DJT 20, you were not aware of ever having met Ms. Carroll. You have since seen a photograph that shows you with Ms. Carroll on a receiving line.
Along with a lot of other people.
You have in front of you a black and white photograph that we've marked as DJT 23. And I'm going to ask you, is this the photo that you were just referring to?
I think so, yes.
And do you recall when you first saw this photo?
At some point during the process, I saw it. That's, I guess, her husband, John Johnson, who was an anchor for ABC. Nice guy. I thought, I mean, I don't know him, but I thought he was pretty good at what he did. I don't even know who the woman, let's see, I don't know who, it's Marla.
You say Marla's in this photo?
That's Marla, yeah, that's my wife.
Which woman are you pointing to? No.
Here. Oh, is that,
The person you just pointed to was
I
E.
see.
Jean Carroll.
Who is that? Who is this?
And the woman on the right is your then wife.
I don't know.
Yvonne?
This was the picture. I assume that's John Johnson. Is that Carol? Because it's very blurry.
It ain't blurry at all. It ain't blurry at all. I could tell that was Marla just by looking at me. That's him and that's Marla right there, looking at the photo.
I'm trying to go back to where the photo is.
I sent it to you in text again, but
I saw that.
He was saying that he's never met this woman ever before, right there in the photo with her, and then misidentified her for being Ivana.
I mean, to be fair,
that's
these two women.
There's E. Jean right there. You can tell what E. Jean looks like.
That's her right here. Yeah.
Right.
No, I know, but I'm just saying.
You know
like,
what your wife looks like.
I know, but
And the photo was not
whatever.
blurry. but he lied and said he never met her a date, didn't know this woman. That's a photo of you with her. Like, he denies every single, like, that's the thing I cannot stand about him. Is there's zero accountability.
He had said that he has met her, but she, like, it's always been like in social situations with other people around, not in a dressing room where she said that he, like, sexually assaulted her.
That could be true. Like, they only met in social settings. It only takes one time in the dressing room to have something go down, right? So,
I mean, here's my thing. Like, I take pictures with a lot of people. Okay. Yeah. People could say, oh, she's friends with this person, she knows this person. No, I'm just in a picture with them. Doesn't mean I know them. You know what I mean? We could be buddy in the picture looking, and I not know this person.
I agree with you. But the thing with him, though, is he deflects all the time. And you can tell when he's really guilty of something because that's the harder he deflects.
Mm-hmm.
And he offered zero actual factual testimony in the first case or in this trial right here. It's all been bluster, and it's all been him just saying that he's a victim. He can never fight the facts, and when he can't fight the facts, that's when he goes his hardest into just throwing whatever tantrum he wants to throw, and that's how he's beyond guilty.
I guarantee you he'll win this appeal. And I'm just going to go back to the fact that every single thing they've tried to hit this man with, nothing's sticking. So you say what you want about his argument strategy, but
maybe if a lawyer would hire the person that she's sleeping with, that would get him off. That's the best decision ever. Great decision.
Take a little tip from Fanny. All right, let's hear. Okay, so now that I need you to hold the same energy with E. Jean over here. Okay, so
yeah.
Let's play what she says.
Let's go.
In this interview on MSNBC.
You've talked about using some of Trump's money that you're about to get to help shore up women's rights. Do you know what that might be? What that might look like?
Yes, Rachel. Yes.
Tell me.
I had such great ideas for all the good I'm going to do with this money. First thing, Rachel, you and I are going to go shopping. We're going to get completely new wardrobes, new shoes, motorcycle for Crowley, new fishing rod for Robbie. Rachel, what do you want? Penthouse? It's yours, Rachel. Penthouse and France? You want France? You want to go fishing in France? No? Oh, all right. Okay.
That's a joke.
Although
if me fishing in France could do something for women's rights, I would take the hit. I would obviously take one for the team. All right, let me.
I don't like Rachel Maddow.
I don't like any of those people there,
I-
but you know,
I've never-
her
I've
lawyer
never
was
thought
like,
about
her
lobster.
lawyer had to say it's a joke because she's like,
Right, but it's you know why it's a joke? Because she'll never get the money.
no, she won't. She won't see a dime.
She won't see a dime. He won't win on appeal. He will claim bankruptcy.
You know, some people were saying, why doesn't he claim bankruptcy? I don't think he will.
He will. He always
I don't
claims
think he will.
bankruptcy. He always claims bankruptcy.
He always claims bankruptcy?
He's yeah, very much so. That's how he's gotten out of. Even though remember when he went bankrupt like in the 90s? This guy's forever going bankrupt in order to get out of obligations.
I mean, I would get out of this one too if I could. 83 million.
He's forever, but then again, his super PAC might pay it for him. So who knows? I'm not throwing shade. I mean that's also a possibility. I think because so many people have donated money to him for his legal fees and expenses, that perhaps it might come out of that. Perhaps I don't know, but I honestly see him claiming bankruptcy.
Okay,
more so than appealing it.
So Trump has filed for 6 business bankruptcies in his lifetime. Once was the Trump Taj Mahal in 1991. The second was the Trump Castle Hotel and Casino. The third was Trump Plaza Hotel, Trump Hotel Casino Resort, Trump Entertainment Resorts. None of them were to settle lawsuits.
No, so he didn't have to pay his outstanding bills. That's why he goes bankrupt.
I know, but I'm saying yet he has yet to file bankruptcy for a lawsuit.
But OJ did it. OJ claimed bankruptcy in his civil case.
We were talking about OJ. Don't be bringing up OJ.
No. But I'm saying though, but it's a possibility, right? So like you that you can use bankruptcy in that in that way. So that's why I see him claiming bankruptcy.
I don't think he will.
He will.
He won't.
He will.
Nah. He'll win this appeal.
He will claim bankruptcy. Okay, first I'm gonna ask why you think he's gonna win the appeal, but he will claim bankruptcy, saying that it's an out of control, legal system, that's persecuting him, and that it's an out of control, judge in New York, a liberal judge, and whatever. He's gonna use all the typical talking points as to justify his decision to claim bankruptcy. But why do you think he's gonna win an appeal though?
Well, so for one, it's hard to comment 100%, right? Because this trial wasn't public. So the only thing we saw was like what was published in the news.
In Elena Habibi, I'm not being
Habibi.
I'm not being mean, but I can't say her last name. I didn't even know it actually. But you see her incompetence, which was a great highlight for me. Yeah,
Alina Habba.
Yeah, her incompetence was fantastic as well.
Again, I did not see the trial. If I could have watched, because I'm like the queen of watching trials from start to finish, but if I could have watched this one, I would have. But from what I did see published, and I'm assuming that they're only going to publish stuff that makes Trump look bad in the newspaper, because that's what they do. They don't ever publish anything that would be in his favor.
Because he does nothing in his favor. He does.
Well, but I saw nothing come out that actually proved what this woman was saying. Like she literally had to show no proof of the claim she was making, which is the world we live in today. That's the world we live in today. You have to show, like you and I were talking about when we were talking about the Me Too movement.
What case are you referring to though that she has to show no proof for?
This case. This one.
The defamation.
Yes.
The defamation is his statements, his slanderous statements. There's no proof because he provides all the proof. He goes on his Truth Social. He'll go on the media. He'll keep talking.
No.
That's what I'm saying.
You need to prove. I'm saying you need to prove that this man did what he like. Because first there was the situation of the defaming in 2019 where he denied allegations of sexual abuse. Okay, so just him simply denying the fact that he sexually abused her was defamation. The man isn't allowed to deny something that you have shown no proof of.
It's the way that he denied it. He went for
it doesn't matter, but that's not against the law. The law does not say you can only deny something in a certain type of way. There is no law that says by law you have to deny it a certain way. No, it was because her feelings got hurt and she didn't like the way he said whatever he said, which everybody knows Trump says whatever the hell he wants to say, whether you like it or not. Okay. But that doesn't make it illegal. She got mad basically because he said she's not my type. Even if I could, I wouldn't.
But that is not a that is
and she didn't prove and she never proved what she said went down. So how do you sue a man for defaming you, basically for hurting your feelings, when you have no proof that it happened in the first place? He has every right to deny it however he wants to.
He never submitted a DNA sample, just so you know, right? Like for that dress that she has.
Which one?
That dress that supposedly has his DNA on it. He refused to submit a DNA sample to
How
compare.
old is the freaking cum stain on the dress? Like,
Why not submit a DNA sample if she's not your type? She's not your type.
I'm sorry.
Then your stuff won't be on the dress. So why not
First
just go ahead and
of all-
submit a sample? You don't have to do anything. Get a little swab. She's
I don't
not your
even
type,
remember.
right?
I don't
She's not
even
your type, don't
remember
worry about
that. No. I don't even remember that coming up. Number one. Number two,
That came out.
this
I'm bringing it up
happened
right now. Yeah.
so long ago. I'm sorry. But even if he did submit something, like, that's crazy. That's crazy to me.
Again,
Come on.
Again,
Like, again, if we have to go to these lengths, it just goes to show. It just goes to show, like, the lengths that people need to go to try to get this man, in some type of trouble. Like, it's ridiculous.
Right.
It's ridiculous.
Right. But again,
Oh yeah.
He will never prove his innocence because he's not innocent. So the only thing he does is combat every single thing with all this machismo, right? Because he can never deny the facts.
I think you just don't like the guy.
I don't like him at all.
Yeah.
Because
but like,
because he lacks accountability.
Right. But don't make stuff up. Like, don't, like, come on. Like, we don't
But
need to make stuff up.
again,
Like, you can
though-
say, I don't like the guy and I want this to be true is one thing. But to say that, like, anything she has said is based in any type of fact is crazy. Like,
But-
you can't defend what this woman's doing.
But at the same time, you can't defend him because he'll make excuses for everything. You saw it on video when he misidentified E. Jean Carroll, right? Thinking that was Ivanka. I can never know the names. Ivana. But he made an excuse saying that the photo was blurry. You saw it was clear as day.
But again, not against the law. Like, who
No,
cares?
it's not. I'm not saying it's against the law. It's not against the law at all. He continuously makes excuses, and he will never stipulate to the facts because he can never fight on the facts because he will always forever obfuscate. There you go. I'm going to use that word.
But you can't argue with whatever facts he has and whatever facts she has when she has the burden of showing the proof of whatever she's making the claim against, and she did not do that.
Okay? The jury thought otherwise.
Of course, the jury thought otherwise.
In two trials.
In
two trials.
Of course, but we'll see how that turns out. Yeah, we'll see how that turns out. So, okay, I was reading up on this dress. Let's see. The woman accusing President Trump of rape 23 years ago says she has no idea if Trump's DNA is on the unwashed dress. Like, how nasty is that? You have a dress that's unwashed. A photo of a 75-year-old E. Jean Carroll, arms crossed and wearing a black dress, was emblazoned on the cover of New York Magazine this week with the claim that it was the same outfit she wore when she was allegedly sexually assaulted by the president in a dressing room at an upscale Manhattan department store, Bergdorf Goodman, in the 90s. In a Monday interview, a CNN anchor directly asked Carroll, a popular writer and advice columnist, whether she has ever dry cleaned the dress since the alleged assault, wondering if it could have the president's DNA on it. Carroll said she didn't know if the dress had Trump's semen on it. I have no idea. I do not know if the president ejaculated. I have no idea. Okay, you don't believe me? Let's play the video of her saying that.
No, I'm not saying I don't believe you.
I'm just saying. And by the way, actually, we do need to play this video because I need to show you. I don't know what type of work she's done on her face since this one.
Oh, I was going to say she can use some of that money to go towards her face. I was going to say that earlier.
I can't believe that he is in the White House. And it makes me sick. What else can I do but just tell my story?
You have said that the coat dress that you were wearing, and we have a picture of it because you're on the front page of New York Magazine. This is exactly the outfit that you were wearing the day that you say the attack.
She put on a dirty cum stained dress for the cover of New York Magazine.
She's trying to be like Monica
What
Lewinsky.
a freaking whore! What a whore!
Oh,
What kind of whore puts on a dirty?
we don't slut shame here.
She's a whore. That's whore behavior.
Happened. You have
but
kept
it's
that
the
dress.
worst. Sorry,
You've never worn it again.
this is why I'm sick of liberals as well, because like this is fucking ridiculous. Like this self-righteousness that we see, right? Like, I'm not discounting any of her claims, but again, that clip you played of her on Rachel Maddow, right? This right here, it's like, no, the self-indignation and this righteousness is just fucking nauseating.
I can't stop looking at her kneecaps. Okay, look at this.
Oh
Look at
yeah,
these kneecaps. What the hell is that? Let's see what she has to say about the dress. Hold on.
Again, you say, have you ever dry cleaned it?
No. The thing is, we all have dresses. You just hang them in the closet. Something bad.
Yeah.
You didn't have a good time wearing it, and you never put it on again because it's just a bad luck dress. I never felt like putting it on again.
Until you're on the cover of New York Magazine, of course. Which
I mean,
it's a good thing I got this little ditty in the back of my closet.
My wife never washed her wedding dress. Ayo.
What happened in that?
Ayo. Let me do a little DNA test. I'll gladly submit a sample.
Oh Lord.
I did not turn it into a talisman. I didn't wrap it in plastic. I didn't think. I just didn't want to put it on again.
I guess my question is could there be any DNA on there?
I have no idea. I do not know if the president ejaculated. Have no idea.
I guess the reason I'm asking is because the mayor of New York City, Mayor Bill de Blasio, who of course is running against President Trump, has said that if you were to bring a case forward, he will pursue it. He will have the New York City Police Department pursue it. So do you want to pursue this?
It is the greatest police department in the world. The detectives are great in New York. The thing is, it's past the time. It's experts. I've been talking to experts, and they say that we've passed
the statute
of legal.
Limitations.
Yes, thank
you.
you.
There was a statute of limitations in place at the time that this happened in late 1995 or 96. That has since changed. And Mayor de Blasio, when he heard your story, said that he would pursue on your behalf an investigation. And so you have the dress that you were wearing. You don't, I'm sure, still have the tights. But would you consider doing that?
I consider it, but the experts are telling me that.
So you've consulted lawyers?
Yeah. Well, they've written to me. I've never consulted a lawyer in my life. It's not something I would do. They have, emailed me to tell me that, as you say, the statute of limitations is passed.
So it sounds like to me, and she mentioned de Blasio, which, by the way, I think has had several sexual allegations pinned against him as well. Sounds like to me, like since this interview, whenever this was years ago, clearly, she was somehow talked into going through with this lawsuit by people who might have a witch hunt.
I want to go that far as saying not everything's a witch hunt, because okay, I can just speak from my personal, my personal, whatever, my lens, right? If somebody accused me of something and said they had the dress that they wore all those years ago, and part of me could be on it, and the only thing I needed to submit was a DNA test to prove that no, it wasn't, I would do it.
Not if you were President Trump and everybody wanted to get you in trouble for something. The last thing I would do is give you a sample of my semen so you could go spread it around the world on other people.
You don't have to. You don't have. No, you can be done with a hair follicle. It can be done with a spit swab.
Again,
it's no.
And now they have his DNA.
That's not a convenient excuse. That to me, he's always chalking everything up to be a witch hunt or everybody against him. That's how he gets away with not being responsible for anything, because everything that anybody brings against him is them out to get him. Meanwhile, he takes no personal responsibility. He could have done all this shit, but he says it's because, people are out to get him. So that's how he skates personal responsibility. That's why I don't like him.
Why is he not in jail after all the things that they've thrown at him? I mean, you could only make once or twice. Yeah. But how come nothing has actually come to fruition?
I mean, it's just getting started now because you couldn't do anything with him in office, right? Because that you can't prosecute a sitting president, whatever. So
The
they had to wait to
impeachments
him
didn't
after.
work.
The impeachments should have worked. The second one didn't work for January 6th. It didn't work because Republicans argued that they're going to vote no on impeachment because the proper venue for him to be tried in was the criminal justice system. That's what they said. That was that was the reason for voting no on him on that second impeachment, right?
They can't get him on anything.
They knew there. No, I wouldn't use impeachment because that's such a political process, right? So Republicans in the Senate knew that he should have been found guilty. And they said that he would have been found. That he bears full responsibility for January 6th. They said that, but they also said they're going to vote no because the proper place to try it is the criminal justice system, which is where it's at now. Which is also being told. We're also being told that he can't be tried there because he's immune because he was president during that time.
Ain't nothing happening. I'm just telling you.
It will happen. It will happen.
Can you just meet me halfway on this E. Jean Carroll Crypt Keeper lady? Like,
what?
She's not believable. She's not believable.
Anytime somebody gets out and does the circuit and really tries to make you feel their story, that you lose credibility. I agree with you with that 100%. And putting that dress because it becomes more about putting on a show, right? And it becomes more about, I'm standing up and I'm symbolic of whatever cause, right? It becomes more of that rather than actual seeking justice for yourself for what you went through.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
no, I agree with you with that. Yeah.
I think it's just a money grab, and I think probably the $83 million that she could potentially be getting is probably going to be split amongst all the people that were.
She's not going to get it.
No, she's not going to get it. But I'm saying if she were to get it, let's just say she were to get it, I'm sure the people that helped push this forward for her are probably going to benefit in some way or another. But whatever.
Yeah. She's not going to get it though. I highly doubt that she would get paid on that. Highly doubt. I don't see that happening at all.
It'll be a long time for sure if she does, for sure.
No.
All right. Well, I did want to get to a more serious story, which is the story about these soldiers that were killed in the U.S. In the drone attack. In Jordan. Yeah. So, of course, they have turned this into a race thing, and we see all over the world, all over the news. Do Black lives really matter? I understand the sentiment, right? Because now they're using this kind of to further the message about Joe Biden and him doing deals with Iran and Iran being potentially at fault for this. But this is an incredibly sad story because 3 lives have been lost, whether they're Black or whatever. They're U.S. soldiers. And now their families have lost their loved ones. The 3 that were killed were Sergeant William Jerome Rivers, who's 46, Specialist Kennedy Layden Sanders, 24, and Specialist Brianna Alexandria Moffett, who is 23. So the 2 were quite young. And I'm hearing that these 2 girls here were friends. So they were killed when a drone hit their housing unit. The U.S. blamed Iranian-backed group, and the Pentagon said it carried the footprints of Kataib Hezbollah. Pentagon also reiterated the U.S. does not want a war with Iran. We don't seek war, but we will take action and respond to the attacks on our forces, said the Pentagon spokesperson Sabrina Singh. The official indicated it was a type of Shahed drone, which is a one-way attack drone Iran has been providing to Russia. Iran has denied U.S. and British accusations that it supported militant groups blamed for the strike. The Pentagon said the 3 soldiers killed on Sunday morning came from an Army Reserve base unit in Fort Moore in the state of Georgia. So, I saw a press conference earlier by one of the Pentagon officials, and he basically answered none of the questions that were posed.
Of course not.
Yeah. And President Biden is kind of like hinting at the fact that He's going to be retaliating.
How?
Yeah, how? I don't know. I mean, my guess is probably sending more money to another country, like he's been doing. I don't know.
Yeah. Like from what I have read about this, like a little bit I've actually heard about it was that that drone was accidentally also let through, right? Like because I thought it was, I guess, a U.S. drone.
Yeah.
When it came through, so our defenses failed
again
in that instance as well.
Mhm.
I honestly hope this does not turn into like that whole Benghazi thing again, which like
Mhm.
becomes like a ton of like show like again it's going to be sensationalized. I feel for people to pursue some whatever political agenda, right? Especially by this being an election year,
Yeah.
and not actually go after who caused this attack and who caused our soldiers to lose their lives.
Mhm.
I think that first and foremost needs to be the number one thing. But I honestly feel that it's just going to become one of those things in which like it's going to be just very expedient to use this for political fodder.
Exactly. It's hitting just in time.
Yeah.
For an election season for sure. And it's scary,
Yeah.
it's super scary. We talked about this last week because they are like, they're always talking about, oh, World War III is upon us or another civil war is upon us and blah, 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 blah. They constantly have us in this state of fear.
Yeah.
And this just keeps perpetuating this narrative. But I mean, I do agree. Like, again, I don't want to like attribute this to do Black Lives Matter. I think the title should be, do American lives matter? Does the US matter to this president? Because he seems to be taking care of other countries more than he's taking care of our country, whether it's letting these people in at the border, not protecting our troops, sending money to other countries. Meanwhile, we're over here suffering and paying for all of it. That's really the discussion we should be having. But, on top of the whole, they're going to push this whole war narrative, they're now adding race into it as well. And it's just sad. It goes back to what you were saying earlier about crime documentaries, right? Like here they are.
Murder docs.
Murder docs, right? Here they are sensationalizing 3 deaths, which are sad.
Yeah.
US deaths, but now they have to like bring to the forefront that they're Black.
It's good for a cycle.
It's good for a headline.
Right. I'm just reading more about it. They're talking about going after strategery.
Of
That's
course.
what's going to be happening, going after strategery in their targeting of certain sites in Iran for this. But you talked about the border, and this is what, because you're in Texas, I actually want to ask you about this because I'm glad you brought it up. Like, what do you think of what's currently happening, right? With like essentially Republican governors, including Greg Abbott, right? Essentially wanting to go to war with the U.S. government over a Supreme Court decision saying that that Texas has no right to erect those barriers.
I think Texas has every right to protect its borders. I don't think the Supreme Court, I don't think they ruled correctly in that at all. And I explained this on the show last week, but they made that ruling basically stating that it's unsafe for the Border Patrol agents that have to, because of where the barriers are.
Right. It's in the river, so you can't erect a wall there. So you have to put those rotating balls with the barbed wire on them to.
Right. And what they're saying is once they're at that point in the river, they're already on the US side. And so at that point, it's the job of the Border Patrol to now process them. Right. So they have to take them in. So that means they now have to go out and get them. And that's what they're saying. So they're saying, oh, our concern is for the Border Patrol people. That's why we want to take these down. Which that's not the case. A while back, I had spoken to a guy who actually works on the border there in the Rio Grande.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, he said it's terrible what we're having to deal with out here. You know, it's terrible. The amount of every morning, the amount of just death, kids floating in the water that we have to go fish out of the water, babies, right? Women, men, pregnant children, okay, coming abused, raped. He's like, the amount of things that we have to see because of what this president is allowing is just disgusting. And now they're using their concern for our border patrol agents to take these things down and allow these people to come through into our country.
I don't think he's allowing anything. I think the border only becomes an issue for Republicans when a Democrat is in the White House. That's the only time the border becomes an issue, because they give you this false sense of security, right? That they're really doing the job and they're turning away so many migrants. But at the same time, we heard about it when Trump was locking kids in cages, quote unquote, right? People were upset about that. The number one comeback that you heard from Republicans when Trump was doing it was, well, Obama locked up more. Okay, well, when Obama was president, you said he was weak on the border then. So what is it then, right? Like, if he locked up more than what Trump did, you know, great. But you also called him weak on the border. So you can't have it both ways. So it's only an issue when a Democrat is in the White House.
It's not an issue for me. I don't care who's in the White House.
I'm not saying for you, but you only hear about, like, it becomes a political issue, right? But Biden said he'll shut the border completely down, right? As soon as this bill gets passed.
Right.
They don't want to pass it because then that will give Trump one less thing to run on. So they really honestly don't want to fix the problem. It's going to become that abortion issue, and essentially that new wedge issue they can latch onto and to run on until something actually happens. They don't want true reform because they can run on it.
Right. Of course they have to have something to run on. And of course it's never going to be 100% fixed. But I will say that, and it wasn't just Trump. There was another president that was kind of doing the same thing. It was sticking more to the policy, right, of the Remain in Mexico, which, you know, they tried to paint it as though Trump did not want people to come across the border. He did not like immigrants, and that wasn't the truth.
Right.
What it was that he was like, hey, come into this country legally, okay? But while you wait on your side, which I totally agree with that. Because the problem is,
but he also, to be fair though, he also made those certain comments that we only want the best and brightest and smart, whatever, right? So of course, so he paired his actions with certain comments, which again, go back to this E.G. Carroll thing. He talks himself into problems,
right?
He constantly self-inflicts issues upon him and then tries to justify it for whatever, or people make excuses for him. Had he not said the comment that because there's nothing wrong with having a secure border, nothing wrong with having a border policy.
Yeah, he said they're not sending their best. That was the comment.
Right. When you have comments like that paired upon to couple with those actions, that takes away from the actual policy that you want to implement, because people focus on what you're saying and they pair the two. And you know, had that not been said, I don't think it would have been that big of an issue.
Yeah. Here's the thing though, is we have to separate what we don't like the way somebody says it and whether it's true or not. Okay. Because them not sending their best is a true statement. Okay. When you think about the amount of people, especially now, that are just like willingly, freely coming over the border,
right,
the majority of them are not their best. They're over here to do bad things. Okay.
I wouldn't say that. I would say it's more the people that don't have anything to their name, right? Because if you're somebody who's successful on the other side of the border, chances are you're going to stay there, you know, and live your life there, right? People that are coming across don't have anything to their name and they're searching for something else. So in certain people's eyes, they have nothing to offer because they're at the bottom, right? So I would agree that, you know, it's not their best they're sending over, but for a different reason. You're not going to get somebody who is a massive tech entrepreneur who's making millions living there to all of a sudden come over here? Like for like what you're successful there.
Well, but you're painting a very small, minute amount of people. Okay, coming from that side now.
But the people who are here to commit crimes, and like Judy said, criminals, right? Do you honestly think they're lining up at the border to come over?
Yes.
Orderly? No, they're not.
Yeah, well, because they're not just coming from Mexico. Now they're coming from all over the place. I mean, Mexico is just the port of entry. But they're coming from all over the place. And
a lot of people fly here and overstay their visas. Nobody talks about that, right? Like there's a lot of people come from different countries, fly over here, overstay their visas, and end up staying, living, right? That part is never an issue because people don't focus on that. People want to focus on what they can see through the media and through social media, right? Are the people lining up at the border?
I'm going to beg to differ with you, and I wish I had stats to show you, but it's not. I think
there's sorry to cut you off again, but there's nothing wrong. I'm not saying don't have a policy.
Yeah,
like there's nothing wrong with having a policy. It's going about the way you do it. Like we can't. There's I think there's 45 ports of entry, and they're having a harder time. They can't keep up with processing people. Meanwhile, Ellis Island was that one port of entry, and they were able to process more people during the time. I guess because it's more orderly. I don't know.
Well, no, it's because now all they have to do is claim asylum. So all they have to do is claim asylum now, and now they can come in because now it's up here.
And it becomes a bigger issue, right? Like, why are they claiming asylum? Things are bad where they're from. So what should we be doing to make things better there then, right? Like, could we do anything?
It's not, no, but see, that's the thing, is it's not our job to make things better over there. It's not our job. I'm like, our shit is so messed up here.
I mean, they had whatever Trump had that replaced NAFTA, right? That was something that was done to prop up North American trade, right? To maybe make things more economically stable south of the border, so people have jobs, have opportunities. Things like that have been done, but is there more? Like, I don't know.
I mean, I don't know, but all I'm saying is that I don't think it's our job to make sure that things, I mean, yes, it's our job to make sure that as the leader of the free world, that we're making things run as smoothly as possible. But the problem also is that this guy has created so much instability everywhere, that it's now. Sorry. Well, I mean, I won't say that it's just Joe Biden.
No, okay, I don't know what guy you're saying.
But you know what I'm saying? Right now I'm talking about Joe Biden because he's the president right now, right? But I think every president has probably dipped their toe and not even dipped their toe, but like has played a role in every administration in making things unstable, right? Every president has had their faults for sure. But I will say that Joe Biden is doing nothing to protect our border. He needs to be protecting our border. We need to be the number one concern for our safety and our well-being. We don't have the resources right now to worry about what's going on in Haiti and Venezuela and Mexico. Okay, it's not my job. I'm sorry that you were born in a shithole country. That's just the way the chips fell for you.
All right, Trump. All right.
Yeah,
Trump.
that's what I'm talking about. See, that's the thing. It's like those are the things that people don't want to hear because they're like, oh, well, that's so cruel. It is what it is. And the reality of it is, and you're talking to somebody who has family members in other countries that they've never been to the US, right? That is all they know. So like to us, it looks really bad. And like, of course they want to come over here because it's great. You know, I remember like when my grandmother used to come here from South America, she would come over here and like just hoard things, like, you know, whatever she could take and send home. Like she couldn't believe how much waste we have over here. Cause she's just like, oh my gosh, where I'm from, we don't have this type of stuff. Like I have to take everything I can home, and they would take it back and they would sell it, you know, like in my uncle's store. You know, so people, yeah, if they can come over here, there's a lot of people that make the best of it and they become super duper successful, right? Because they don't squander the opportunities that we as Americans who are born here with all these opportunities squander. They take full advantage of it. But the problem is there are very bad people coming across the border, people who do want to do bad things.
Right, but
people who have bad intentions.
That's a way of life. You're always going to have bad people. Like coming,
yes, but we have enough.
I'm going to have bad people, coming across my city borders, right? It's just like you're always going to have bad people out there. I think that is not a strong enough excuse, right, to deny a whole group of people.
It
right?
sure the hell is.
Because you might have, okay, fine then. So I will take that same logic. Let's run with that, right? Because if we say that, there are some bad apples in the bunch, so we got to castigate the whole bunch, then we talk about policing, then, right? Like you got some bad apples in policing, but people always want to differentiate. They don't even want to say there's even bad apples inside there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It becomes like everybody is, angelically clean. It's like we do that. We do this dance. We do this thing in which whenever it's convenient for us to highlight a small group of people to create this monolith and say that everybody in that group is bad because it's small, or we can't possibly weed out the small minority that are actually bad. So we have to deny everybody else in that entire group just out of an abundance of caution. We do this dance in our heads to justify it, which I think doesn't make any sense. It's, fentanyl is coming across the border. It's also coming from China as well, right? Fentanyl is coming from all over. Again, there's these excuses that people bring up in tying certain things with this border issue, just like these little whatever, whatever biases, I'll say, they have in their heads, they will latch that to the border issue in order to justify feeling a certain way towards it.
I don't know. All I'm saying is no other country is accepting of other people. Okay, then
but that's what we're built on, though, right?
I know, but
we're built on this idea. I'm not discrediting what you're saying, but we're building this idea of like offering hope.
Yes, offer hope. All I'm saying is you've got to go through the legal process, and you don't get to stay over here while you wait on that hope. You apply like everyone else. You wait for your application to go through, and then for sure, come on over and enjoy the hope, but not until I do a background check on you, not until I make sure that you're not a criminal in your own country and that they're looking out for you, right? I don't want that shit over here. I'm all for the hope. Listen, my whole family, like my family's immigrants.
Yeah, right.
I get it.
What you're asking for is comprehensive immigration reform, which none of them want to tackle.
Of course not.
They don't want to tackle it at all.
Yes, I get it.
It's like what you're saying makes sense.
Yeah.
Right. That can be in a giant immigration bill, but you also have to figure out who's already here, right? You can't possibly round up every single person that's coming. At least, so there has to be a point where, all right, fine. If you've come here, that's it, right? But starting today, don't even announce it. Just like make it happen, right? You know what I mean?
Right.
And then start really putting true systems in place. But nobody wants to do it. Like again, I'll go back to Biden saying he will shut the border completely down if this bill comes out of the Senate and gets passed by the House. He'll shut it down day one as soon as he has that bill. He called them on their bluff because they don't want to do it. They don't want to do it because they have nothing to run on.
But that's why I say when you ask me about Texas, that I absolutely am 100% down with Texas defending the shit out of our border. I don't care what the hell. Like if you need, like, do whatever you got to do. Because clearly
again, these balls didn't get erected until after Trump left the White House again, because it became an issue. The border is only an issue. I remember Janet Brewer, shaking her fist into Barack Obama's face over the Papers, Please bill, in Arizona, right? It only, I grew up in California. I remember what Prop 182, whatever, when Pete Wilson was governor, right? It becomes, the border has always been an issue and it'll forever be an issue because people don't want to tackle it because they don't have anything to run on.
Yeah, but we can't let it get worse than it already is. Like I feel like it's worse than it's been in a long time.
I don't know. I don't know if it's worse or not.
I don't know. I have to pull up the numbers.
I saw it because it's not an impressive number. But it says that 142,000 immigrants in fiscal year 2023, nearly double the year before, have been deported, which isn't a great number. I'll say that, right? But you look at, like, the numbers are always like in the hundreds of thousands. Like, the most I've seen is like in the 300,000s for removals. So what is that then, right? Like, if all these people, if we're having mass, this massive influx, right, of like millions of people, then why are only 300,000 of them at most getting turned away or getting captured and returned?
I mean, resources to be able to capture and return them. I don't know. There's a lot of question there.
It's like, but it is like, makes me ask, like, do they truly want it fixed?
Yeah, I mean, of course, like, it's kind of, it's like the other, what was it, the DACA? That was the one that they ran on all the time, was the DACA. Whatever happened with that? Like, DACA people. See, that's the one. That's the one. That's the one issue that I'm just like, I feel like if you were brought over here against your will and you've been raised here your whole entire life, yeah, I mean, I think there should be some type of process to get you immediate citizenship, because I don't think you should be returned to a country you have never known. Right. But
and it's like, but I also agree with doing away with birthright citizenship. Right. Like, I don't think just because you have, a child on American soil makes them automatically American citizen. No, like, I don't.
That used to be, yeah.
It still is a thing, isn't it?
No, they did away with that. So like, I remember when I lived in California, and I've seen this like with my own eyes, pregnant women like running across the border because they wanted to give birth in the United States.
Oh, sorry. You remember those signs of like the family crossing the street and like the little kid always like flying in the wind?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But do you remember, like, I remember like sitting, like waiting to, it was either like go in or come out, but you'd be in the line or whatever. And like the mothers would be trying to like put their kids in people's trunks so that they could get them over the border.
Yeah.
Like I used to see that all the time.
Yeah. I mean, I can see it from both sides. Like, I can understand why somebody wants that hope for their child. I understand why somebody wants hope for themselves in their own life. Try to make something better for themselves. I understand that. I get it. But at the same time, like, and I agree that we can't have just, a border with no security whatsoever and just be like the civ. I agree with that. I don't agree with, this idea that we can have security without, going to these tropes of, criminality or like drugs or something. We can say we just want a secure border and not use, the few bad actors or the worst in a group of people to justify it.
Yeah, I think it's more than a few, though. I mean, again, I make that statement lightly because I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I think now it's more than a few bad actors. I think the drug epidemic is
from what my research tells me is that a lot of people who are here illegally are actually some of the best citizens who don't commit as many crimes as U.S. citizens. I'm not saying they don't commit crimes. I'm saying the proportionality to U.S. citizens is lower.
I would need to see the numbers on that one. Yeah, we'll need to come with the numbers on that one. Too bad Soonie's not here because she's the queen of bringing up numbers quickly. But we don't have her here today. But I think we are. Do you have any other topics that you wanted to talk about?
No, I was trying to find the numbers for you real quick. But
okay. Yeah, I'll give you a second to do that if you want to pull them up.
All right. It's a lot of damn numbers to read.
Yeah. The problem is like, when it comes to numbers, like, I'm always like, like we need the numbers obviously to like, put some type of like context around things. But any type of polling, I'm never 100%. Whether it's something I want to see or not, like, I'm never 100% sold on it.
Because you can skew a poll.
Yeah.
You can oversample and to get the desired outcome. Same thing with documentaries as well. Like, you can put everything. You can put your fingers on the scale enough to get the desired outcome that you want. But I love that post that's up now from Monique.
Which one? Biden needs votes.
Because that's the idea that every illegals are just voting in waves for Democrats. Meanwhile, you have states that you have to have voter IDs in. So I don't see how that, really works.
You know, a while back I had a lady write to me. So she was a business owner in New York. And she sent me a message and she was like, I wanted to tell you what's been going on. She's like, because we've been trying to hire, just like basic dishwashing positions for our restaurant. And we've had this like influx of people applying, but they can only come in like between the hour, like they literally can only work between the hours of like 2 p.m. and I don't know, it was like some weird hours. And she's like, nobody's hours start at 2 p.m. Like a dishwasher, like we need you available, right?
Yeah.
And they can only work so many hours per week. And they had to like sign a paper saying that they were there. And they had a phone that tracked them. And so she had this particular guy there. And she was like, well, why don't you come in and, do like a day shift or whatever, and we'll see how you work out. And then if you work out, then, we can hire you. And he was like, well, I have to only work in these hours. And if I don't stay within these hours, they're going to take my phone away and they're going to take my housing away. And she's like, what are you talking about? Who's going to take it away? And he's like, well, me and a bunch of people, we all live in a house together. And she was like, you and a bunch of people. And he was like, yeah, other people that came from across the border. And so he was bused to New York from, one of these cities, these sanctuary cities or whatever. He was bused to New York. That's where they dropped him off. And I guess there was like rules. They gave them a cell phone. They gave them a house to live in. And he said there was like 30, 40 people living in this house, but they can only work from a certain hour to a certain hour. And if they're found outside the house, outside of those hours, they're immediately kicked out, phone gone, all their resources gone. And she said that she ran into this more than a few times. So, it's that type of stuff. Like when you say like they're not shipping in their next voter, group, that make me go, I don't know about that.
It's not. It's people being taken advantage of, right? Because you pay X amount to, go in the back of a semi truck, right? To get, shipped over. Like you have people here, honestly, like making money off of doing this, bringing people over here illegally. You have people who are running businesses, hiring people who are here illegally. So it's more than just, there's so many people who have a vested interest in illegal immigration and exploiting it.
Of course.
That is the bigger thing that makes me question, does anybody really want it to stop, or do they just want it to be this issue that keeps coming up so people fight over it over and over again?
It's probably a little bit of both.
Yeah. And then last thing, I promise I'll talk about. Last thing.
Okay.
Shout out to Florida for easing child labor laws. You see that?
I did hear something about that. Shout out to Florida. I love how you do that.
Shout out to Florida.
Tell me about it. Read the deep.
I'm trying to skim it real quick as I'm reading, but like currently 16 and 17-year-olds in Florida can't work before 6:30 a.m. or after 11 p.m. when school is in session. To change that, businesses and industry groups are supporting 2 proposals that would allow Florida teens to work longer. And then Danny Burgess, who's a Republican from, God, that sounds like it's a disease, Zephyrillus.
That does sound like a disease.
Zephyrillus.
Like a sexually transmitted disease.
100%. God. Says that those were some of the most formative things that had helped me. Those are some of the most formative things that I could have done that helped me to truly become who I am today. So him exactly, I guess. So he's proposing an opening in the window for 16 and 17-year-olds to be allowed to work starting at 5:30 a.m. and ending at midnight. He said this will put Florida in line with 7 other states, including Illinois. Right now, they're good.
Wait a minute. So the law prevents them from working?
So currently under the law, they can't work before 6:30 a.m. or after 11 p.m. He wants them to be able to work starting at 5:30 a.m. and ending at midnight.
I mean, listen, I think you should be able to. I think you should be able to work. I started working, I think when I was like 15, I got my first job.
Yeah.
And I think I worked when I was 16, I had 3 jobs. And I went to school.
Because you need more minimum wage workers.
Yeah.
Because
I worked
for profits, you need to keep the labor costs down. So you need to have illegal immigration who you can pay under the table. You need to have more teenagers, more people who you can pay minimum wage to. That way you can maximize profits.
Mm.
The craziest thing though, is working. Have you ever worked in the restaurant industry in California and worked in the industry like in a place like Texas where you're at?
Not in Texas, but in California, I did.
I worked here in California, of course, and then when my parents were living in Missouri, I worked at I was working at Chili's, so I was chili head. But I was working at Chili's in St. Louis, and the difference in pay, because you get paid federal minimum wage working, elsewhere, right? And that was like $2 an hour plus tips. But in California, I was getting California minimum wage plus tips, which I'm like,
what is that? What's the California minimum wage?
Now I think it's gone up from 15, I want to say, maybe 17. I don't know if it's 20 yet. But at that time I was working, though, it was like 12, I think, 10.
As a server, you're making what?
Plus tips, right? But I say that to say, like, these, again, who can live off of $2 an hour?
Well,
like,
okay.
Whereas, but that wage was so little that went all to your taxes. So basically you just worked on tips.
Yeah. But see, like, I worked as a waitress at a bar at a Mexican restaurant, and I made like, I think less than $2. I don't know what it was. It was hella low, but I made so much money in tips. Like, I made great money being a server.
I guess it just depends on like the day and like the clientele that you have. I just feel like, again, like, to skirt law like that and not pay state minimum wage, but to revert to paying federal, right? That's just like, again, it's this idea of corporations always want to take advantage of people, and they have no interest. Here I go down another road, but like, they have no interest in really supporting the American worker.
Yeah.
At all, because it's not in their vested corporate interest to pay high wages to Americans to get the job done. They will always do it for the cheapest way possible.
Yeah. I think certain places will, for sure. I mean, shoot, like my daughter, she's a server at a 5-star hotel though. But man, she was pulling in $3,000 every 2 weeks.
Yeah. Good for her.
On a server salary. I was like, shit.
Good for her.
Yeah.
That's good work.
Heck yeah.
But that's also like why I laugh in a way, like when I hear, I'm not like making this a red state, blue state thing, but that's why I laugh when I hear like red states making fun of, California's losing businesses. Like, yeah, and they're moving to Texas. Like they're moving to Texas because they want to pay workers less. That's the reason they're moving out. They're not moving it because, in their best corporate interest. I mean, it is in a way.
Well, I think it is.
It is in their best corporate interest to move out. But like, the only reason they're moving to states like that is because it's cheaper for them to be in, because they don't want to pay the workers what the workers should get. So they want everybody to relocate to places like Texas so they can pay them less.
Yeah.
That's happening with Apple, right?
Yeah.
I saw this thing today in which they're building another campus in Austin, and they want everybody to relocate.
Another one?
They're expanding in Austin, yeah, and that's like their Siri division, I guess, like that. So they want people to leave California to go to Austin.
No thanks.
But that's what they're doing. They have no interest in supporting the American worker, because at the end of the day, it's all about how much corporate profit they can turn, and in turn prop up their stock prices.
Yeah. Sorry, my cat.
I thought that was your hair.
No, this is Chad.
What's up? What's up, Chad?
Chad is like, he's being tempted by the devil today because he is just bad. Hilarious. And he's like, come on, dude, get out of here.
Chad should meet my dog Chauncey, or my wife's cat Kismet.
Oh, that's cute.
I say my wife's cat because I don't claim her. She's a black cat. Not like that. I mean, like, she's a beautiful, strong black cat. I just don't claim her because she doesn't like me.
I gotta show you Chad. He's actually like, he's like.
Is his last name Ocho Cinco by any chance?
No.
Okay.
But he looks like a mean.
Oh yeah.
He's like a little leopard.
Yeah, what's up, Chad?
This is Chatty Daddy.
Chatty Daddy.
Look at, and he's got like a profile, like he's got like an underbite.
Yeah.
You hear him? He's mad.
Oh, that's him. I thought that was a dog.
No. See his underbite?
Yeah.
Chad.
Is he? Oh, I was going to ask, since he's Chatty Daddy, was he related to Daddy Trump in any way? But
no, I have Daddy.
Last names.
We have Daddy Trump right here.
Tomorrow they will say Donald Trump rants and raves at the press. I'm not ranting and raving. I'm just telling you, you're dishonest people.
One of my followers bought this for me and said it's very, very sweet. I love it.
I love it. So great. So great.
Yep. Alrighty. Well, I think we're gonna end it here. We were on a lot longer than we planned.
Exactly. We said we're gonna do an hour. It's 2.5.
I know.
That's what happens when we start talking, though. We end up talking forever.
I know. We had a lot of topics today, and we actually got through them all. So that's pretty good. That's pretty good. But I want to remind everybody, this is the last show for this week. Soonie, she just sent me a message on WhatsApp. She's on a plane on her way to the mountains in Japan. And I will be leaving for Colorado on Thursday myself to go to the mountains and enjoying a couple days out there. Girls trip.
And I'll be avoiding crime in these sanctuary cities that are rampant with illegals and homeless.
Jaron will be fighting the borders in California single-handedly. try well, at the same time trying to land all the racially ambiguous roles he can in Hollywood.
Ooh, yeah, and praying I don't have a black pray you don't have a black pilot. Pray
yes,
you should have turbulence, so you see somebody with a square jaw just come out and say, I got this.
Hey, maybe by the time we come back, you'll be able to land a pilot job, since they're just giving them away so easily to black people.
I hear United wants to increase their black pilot ratio.
United, reach out to my boy Jaron. Holla.
Let's go. I'm not qualified, but I got DEI on my side.
Hey, he drives a Tesla. He can drive a 747.
I put that.
Drives itself.
Tesla on autopilot. I mean, come on now.
Dude, I we'll have to talk about this next time, but I did want to talk about the Neuralink implant that Elon did on somebody.
Oh, I didn't know that was really a thing now. Let's do it next
time.
Yeah,
I just hadn't read up on it enough, and I was like interested in it.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Yeah, for sure. But anyways, you have a good night, and thank you so much for joining us for the show. And everybody else, thank you so much for watching tonight. We really appreciate it. And we will see you next week with a brand new show. Soonie will be back. I think she'll be back. Yeah. And then Jaron will be with us next Friday.
Let's do it.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Patriotic summer.